You have only one thing stopping you, something you must throw away. We can follow, we can fly, take a lead from the other side. We can follow, we can fly, take something you must throw away. Take my hand and we'll run. To the other side.
Hello and welcome into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. Tonight, we kick off the 2020 Gridiron Series where the Boise State Esports team take on the team that the Boise State football team is supposed to be playing on the upcoming weekend. Of course, there's not any football this fall semester for Boise State, but that's not going to slow down the esports team, so we'll still kick off the Gridiron Series tonight. Boise State taking on Georgia Southern in a best-of-3 in League of Legends. I'm your host, Michael Fish Fisher, joined shortly by Lisa Jolly Malhas to call all of the League of Legends action, and Jolly, Boise State on a nice little winning streak here, so we hope the Broncos can continue their winning ways here tonight in our first Gridiron Series of the season.
Nice to finally feel like a Boise State fan again for League of Legends. A little bit of a losing streak there as the team was working to find their footing, but it appears that it has been found, and it is very solid now at the moment. Exciting to see these players working really well together, and not only that, but we've got a bunch of players as well on multiple teams throughout the Boise State varsity group, so we might be seeing some new players here today.
Yeah, we are going to see, as you mentioned, Boise State has plenty of varsity players. To see some new names, some familiar names, and then some new names that are really familiar names because everyone just loves to change their summoner name every 6 months just to keep us on your toes. So you will recognize some of the names, not the group that we have seen recently, as you mentioned, Jolly. Tons of varsity players, which also means different play styles. We're not going to be pining over a Rumble pick or something like that. It's going to be interesting to see what these new players bring to the table. Maybe let everyone know, hey, we're just as good as the other players you see. Don't forget about us.
Absolutely. I guarantee we'll have at least one of those auto bans like we do for the Rumble normally. Just coming from one of the other rosters here for Boise State, we can see there, again, some familiar names, some unfamiliar names. Prominence, Blade, Galaxy Savages, Setup, Gimmick, and Woojin there for Boise State. And then Georgia Southern has Inspiration, the Trandamalian, that random alien, 1v9, Shinsu, and Stardream.
And, of course, Prominence Blade is a name that you might not recognize, but as I mentioned, people just like to mess with us. That is Lelouch. So people might remember that name from previous semesters. Just using whatever, I guess, blue essence you have at this point just to change your summoner name just because. But, yeah, Galaxy Savage is a new player, so it'll be really fun to see how he sort of fits in with this team. And then, of course, we recognize the rest of the names as well. And Woojin, of course, in there as well, a name we haven't seen this semester, but a very talented player. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I like that. You can see by that graphic, Woojin, a support. Usually he's on the top lane, but he plays those support top laners, so maybe he's just at home in a new role. I'll be curious to see how this Boise State team starts off tonight against Georgia Southern.
And we've seen some crazy things. The last roster that we just casted a couple of days ago there for the UCI Best Coast Tournament, the end of that, we saw a Moo in the bottom of the support lane. So lots of options for the Boise State players. The Broncos like to bring out some cheeky picks there, and it does definitely make sense that Woojin will be solid in the bottom lane. I'm very stoked to see the return of Lelouch, though, one of the most powerful players here for not necessarily Boise State's roster that we see the most of, but that follow-up roster there, a fantastic top laner, and I'm excited to see what he has to bring to the table.
Is going to be Boise State versus Georgia Southern tonight, kicking off the Gridiron Series here for the esports team, where we'd like to try and challenge the team that Boise State football will be playing on that upcoming Saturday to some games in esports. Of course, not going to be a football season, at least for Boise State this fall, but that's not going to stop us. The Georgia Southern game would have been tomorrow, but like, hey, we'll settle this on the field of justice. Let's go. Let's see who really would have won. It counts in the win-loss column. If you lose Georgia Southern, we're just chalking that one up for Boise State. So it's always a lot of fun, especially when you have this right before the football game, but I'm sure it's going to be just as special tonight in this show match because, as you mentioned, these are some Boise State players that we haven't always seen, but they want to let people know, hey, keep us in mind because we're still a very good team. So I'm excited to see how all these things shape out. And as you mentioned, I'll be curious to see who's sort of banned away here because these are newer players that we haven't seen. I don't know who their one tricks potentially are, who they like to be on, or if they're just going to say, we'll just ban away all meta picks. That'll be kind of fun to see if we do see the pick ban phase here for this game.
Yet not as much research to be done for this current roster. We did have quite a few show matches in the past with a lot of these players together here, but in different roles, and that the addition of the new player as well will make things interesting. So we're going to get right into it. This is the best part aside from, the actual game.
Yeah, I love the pick ban phase, especially because there is some mental games with Boise State. Who's going to be picked? Where are they going? The Kane first ban away there by Georgia Southern, something that Galaxy, the new jungler for Boise State, loves to play. A ton of games on Kane. Also, Lelouch that we talked about has a ton of Camille games. So wouldn't surprise if that's banned away, but a jungle answer there, the Nunu, banned by Boise State.
Always a solid one there, especially with, we've seen mid lane run Nunu's. I mean, Nunu has the potential to go in many areas, a classic flex pick, but very strong in the jungle and a lot of potential to jump into some fights. We can see the Yasuo as well being banned out there from Georgia Southern, and then Boise State is going to follow it up with an Ezreal pick, which does seem to be one of Shinsu's main champions, definitely not the number one. So it doesn't look like Boise State is working to filter out those top champions in the pool of some of these players here. Twisted Fate going to round it out for Boise State, and Georgia Southern is going to end things here with the Galio ban.
Yeah, a couple of global ultimates taken off, and Georgia Southern says, all right, we'll pick one of the remaining ones left. The Shen pickup there by the Georgia Southern side. Boise State going to answer with the Caitlyn, a very, very strong AD carry. So I like that for Boise State, but you got to be wary where that Shen's going. And then the Lux pickup, going to be curious where that goes. I'd have to guess Woojin in the bot lane, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, that is something that we've got a little bit of so far. The Caitlyn Lux is a really good combination. You've got the ability to drop traps after somebody gets hit by a binding there by the Lux, and then activating just chains of CC over and over with so much pressure and damage as well to get it followed up is really a good lane in the current meta at the moment. Senna being picked up, who is, speaking of the meta, very, very strong right now as an ADC, and a good one to pick in opposition there of that Caitlyn.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see. I was actually going to say where that Senna goes because she can be played in both roles, but that's going to answer it right there, the Braum pick. So setting up for the Senna AD carry. Going to try and put a lot of protection around her with the Braum and the Shen. And then the Vigar pick, the last thing there for Boise State. So bot lane's all settled, and then a mid for Boise State and a top picked in. So we'll be curious to see where these bans go targeting in the second phase.
And that seems to kind of be the standard for this meta. A lot more focus around early picking towards the bottom lane, potentially the mid lane. We'll occasionally see the Shen pick top just because it is such a solid pick that is difficult to counter and really good for a lot of the compositions that are in the meta at the moment. But Boise State certainly holding out for that jungle top lane. We've seen some crazy picks in terms of their composition. We've seen some non-tank meta. There's games, at least with another roster here. So we'll see if they decide to go as cheeky, if they are as confident as the other Boise State roster is at the moment. It looks like the Fizz is going to be banned out. We don't want that up against the Vigar there. And the Camille has been banned away from it. It's no longer Lelouch from Prominence Blade.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked Boise State didn't want to pick Camille in the first round. Prominence Blade had a ton of games on that champion, but wanting to hold out, especially with Shen already picked in. You knew who his top laner was going to be. Maybe a matchup he didn't feel as comfortable in as Vladimir and Vi, the final two bans for both sides. Yeah, I'd be curious to see the Georgia Southern mid lane. Plays a lot of AD carries. He had a lot of Kaisa, but he doesn't go mid with it, so it is kind of hard to ban out someone who's maybe playing in a new role. And then there's the set pickup for Boise State. Could be top, could be jungle. Set's just all around powerful right now.
Yeah, the Fizz is definitely one of the higher picks for them. You know, the Xerath, actually, they run the Yasuo might have been a pick specifically against that mid laner for Georgia Southern. The 1v9, I believe, is the name that we've got on there. And the Xerath is going to be the lock-in. They are going with a very blue composition here, and they're sticking with it. Going to lock in the Ashe to finish things off. So that Senna likely actually going in the top, the mid lane. No, hold up. Because I have not seen, Senna jungle, I haven't seen any of these played in the jungle at all so far this season, to be honest. I am,
there we go.
Okay, all right, that makes much more sense. So the Hecker is still sticking with that blue-green style. The Hecarim, that big old horsey, is going to be going to the jungle, and standard from everything else that we thought.
Yeah, I was like, wait, where is everything going? But Pro Draft sometimes likes the best of those. So yes, yeah, the Hecarim picked and then the Poppy for Boise State. So that should mean it's a set jungle and then a Poppy top lane. So very interesting. It is kind of a unique when you see a Camille player then be sort of put on a tank, because they usually would think they'd like to play something more aggressive. But then again, the top laner for Georgia Southern loves his Riven, and he's now stuck on a Shen. So that's just sort of the status of top lane. Doesn't really matter what you want to play. Your team's going to say, pick a tank, suffer up there for 20 minutes by yourself, and then come join us in team fights where you actually have some use.
Absolutely, and that Poppy can be pretty pivotal, as well as maintaining that top lane for some early roams. As we said, the second half of the map for Boise State is incredibly powerful, very, very bursty, and a lot of potential for some early push here, especially with the choice in the matchups. The Caitlyn and Lux were picked early on, but the Veigar was also picked there just to be able to allow a little bit of extra pressure towards that mid lane. A lot of focus likely going to be on the bottom and the mid side here for Boise State. I do love the set jungle, a very, very powerful pick. The showstopper can be absolutely huge in terms of either beginning or ending fights there. But like I said, this Xerath is definitely one of the 1v9's favorites and maybe something to watch out for because there is quite a bit of mobility and opportunity there for some long-range damage as well coming from Georgia Southern.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it's going to be on prominence, Blade, as this is Boise State versus Georgia Southern in the first of our Gridiron series of the 2020 season. But I think a lot of this has to go on to prominence, Blade, on stopping that Shen, if he can, from sort of getting around on the map, because that's the one thing Shen has the advantage. He has to stand united. Oh, okay, that fight's over. He can go back top lane, and then he can just teleport into another fight. Poppy's only going to have one teleport, so a lot of it's going to go into prominence, Blade, trying to stop a teleport, trying to stop a stand united so that Shen just doesn't have that much more global pressure than he does as we load up into the game, and Boise State tries to maybe go for an early invade here potentially, or maybe just trying to set up, but we'll have to see if the Broncos want to send a message early here against Georgia Southern.
30 seconds.
See a ping coming out there from Georgia Southern towards the mid lane where that Veigar is as set up a returning member again, Galaxy Savage, really the only one that we had not seen prominent Blade disguised. It is actually Lelouch, but has swapped the name there, as Boise State, the Broncos seem to be a fan of really throwing us off sometimes. I do like the name change, though. We'll see if it comes with a bit of a deeper champion pool as well. We have seen a lot of prominence Blade, like you said, on very, very high damage champions in the past, and clearly based on the record that we have for that player, same kind of style here. So the Poppy not really seen in the recent selections that they have made here, almost entirely Camille. We got some Ornn, some of the Vladimir that was banned away, so I'm very curious to see how Prominence Blade manages this, and as you mentioned, prevents this Shen from getting some early invades once that level 6 is hit.
And take a look at the summoner spells. Everything all even except the difference on the junglers. Hecarim going to go with that Ghost, be a little bit more aggressive, get some attack power off of his passive based on movement speed, and then the Flash for Galaxy Savage. But 2 teleports, one on the mid, one on the top for both sides. Heal Exhaust in the bot lane, so no Ignites. Going to be very interesting to see if the summoner spells make a difference, as we mentioned. Both teams running all square, and Hecarim, I want to see what he does early. We see maybe setting up for a level 2 gank down on the bot side, but I'll be curious to see if anything wants to happen from Georgia Southern for an early gank, because Hecarim definitely more aggressive than Set early in the game.
Oh yeah, lots of opportunity to get some early pressure, and in particular that bottom lane can use a lot of help for it, because that early on, and when Boise State has this much pressure over the map, that early on is definitely not when you are expecting a gank. Even if there is a Hecarim on the opposing team, just trying to get some creep score in the bag, just trying to figure out how aggressive your opponents might be throughout this laning phase, or how much pressure you can actually provide based on that. Prominence Blade's going to get jumped on here by Inspiration, take quite a bit of damage, but still make it out okay.
As I say, that would be the one thing with Hecarim, you know, starting on that red buff, he could eventually end up topside, but you don't really gain much from ganking a Poppy if you even are able to. So I was thinking maybe he said, all right, let's go bot lane, but looks like both junglers have just committed for the full clear. You could see the CS across the board. Pretty even as well. Prominence Bay just a little bit behind, but that's going to happen when you do get poked out by the Shen. But for Boise State, I'm guessing maybe waiting for Galaxy Savage, as we talked about, a new player for this roster. What is his first move going to be for Boise State on camera? Is it going to be a flashy gank, or maybe he's just going to farm until the showstopper, like you talked about, Jolly, get that showstopper, and that's when it really begins?
A very powerful champion, really, whenever you get in. You definitely need a bit more of a start, though, as we mentioned, by that random alien who is on the Hecarim here, who we've seen actually quite a bit of. Hecarim has been pretty popular because of the aggressive composition style that is currently in the meta that Boise State likes to take up, and already some good back and forth damage here on the bottom side.
Yeah, putting some nice damage on the Star Dream there. Shinsu will have the ability to heal, though, on the Senna. Prominence Trade dropping very, very low. Going to use all of those creeps to sort of put some damage on Inspiration and shut down any attempted gank. But here comes Hecarim up in the top lane. You can see the pings going out as a root is going to land on the bot side. Does look like Prominence Blade was able to escape, so nothing happening just yet for either side.
Sorry about that. Had to refresh real quick. Woojin now on the third stack. Concussive blows. That is going to do an exhaust coming out from both sides, too.
Good job for both exhausts being used there. You can see Galaxy Savage maybe trying to sneak in for something. There are minions, though, to give away his position. So does look like both sides get a disengage. I have to say advantage. Probably Georgia Southern there just because Senna's going to have the ability to heal up her and Braum when she either CS's or just does it intentionally with the Q. So that's going to allow them to stay in a little bit longer. Trade going up in the top lane, and now Prominence Blade. He did have to use that teleport to come back to lane, but he is starting to put some damage on Inspiration. We'll see what happens when the Shen does back if things start to even out once again. But right now we do see Georgia Southern with a bit of a gold lead. A lot of that contributed to that top lane where the CS is 30-13.
Shen does have a lot of pressure here, and that will just increase as the game goes on in this matchup. Prominence Blade already getting jumped on pretty far back by Inspiration, who's taking just a tad in terms of the creep damage there. Can really make a big amount of pressure early on in the game, as we can see, but that level 6 is going to be hitting pretty soon. There is some opportunity potentially for the Stand United to be utilized towards the bottom side. As we know, the top teleport was used for Prominence Blade earlier on. Inspiration still has that one available, so 2 teleports in the pocket of Georgia Southern, and the Broncos just have the one on setup there in the mid lane, who likely won't put as much pressure on early in the game. You need a little bit of that laning pressure before you're able to roam around. Maybe an early kill, or once there's a move towards that dragon, as we can see it has spawned here, and very little vision is surrounding that at the moment, but the Hecarim is going to make a dive.
Nice binding there by Woojin, stopping it. Concussive blow still going to land. Forced to flash away with 3 stacks. Looks like Braum's going to be blocking a ton of that damage since you're going to come and steal the soul away from Lux. But a great job by Woojin binding that horse in the tracks. Binds the one thing that kind of slowed down an attempted Hecarim gank. But as you mentioned, Jolly, if I'm Georgia Southern, I force this Infernal Dragon as soon as Shen hits 6. Because we do see Galaxy Savage actually jumping onto that random alien. Going to blast cone him right over to his team. There's the Stand United. Concussive blows coming in from the backline. Xerath's going to rotate over. Setup's right behind him. Flash away by that random alien. Nobody's going down yet, but the taunt going to land onto Set, and he will fall. First blood over to Georgia Southern. Boise going to pick up another one, though, as Woojin gets the first kill. Trading back and forth. Now 2 down aside. The Infernal Dragon decided to join the fight as well. Unfortunately for Boise State, they're going to lose a 3rd member. Setup's going to try and flash away. That random alien has to be careful. And Shinsu going to pick up 1, so a chaotic fight results in a 4-2 advantage for Georgia Southern.
It looks so good for Boise State, pinching off that random alien. Not nearly enough damage to be had, though. And we saw the flash in from Galaxy Savage that resulted in the first blood going over to Georgia Southern. A nice move down from 1v9 and a solid ultimate as well coming out from both 1v1 or 1v9, and then Inspiration with that Stand United. Not enough damage to be dealt onto that random alien to be able to get the takedown, and enough time for the rest of Georgia Southern to engage on that fight. So Boise State, yes, did manage to pick up 2, but lost 2 pretty important, or 4, I suppose, pretty important members here of the team, as only 1 member of Boise State, the Poppy, who did not move from the top side, is left alive. Georgia Southern responding very, very well to that fight.
Yeah, and that one thing there with the multiple kills, we do see gank coming in here from that random alien. Woojin, you're going to try and get the bind, but he'll still get charged. Ultimate going to come out. The fear is going to land. Woojin dropping very, very low. He is going to fall over. Looks like Gimmick should be able to escape with that random alien, putting the pressure on. We'll see if this is a attempted dragon here for Georgia Southern, because right now they are controlling the bot side jungle.
Absolutely have potential to move up, and they are going to do that. We can see some deep vision being placed there by Star Dream on the Braum, trying to put some extra pressure here onto this dragon. And it does look like they're going to make a move. Boise State's Gimmick just has the opportunity now to put pressure down, as they should be aware that this dragon is going over very quickly to Georgia Southern. Infernal to start things off, and that feels pretty good considering how much damage and pressure Georgia Southern has put on. And just like we predicted, that random alien showing up a lot in the bottom side early on, already providing 2 ganks and picking up 1 very successful one, and now a little bit of a back and forth here between the 2 top laners.
Now Prominence Blade trying to ult Inspiration just for the damage. There's the Senna snipe, and Inspiration's going to pick up a kill. Boise State trying to jump on this Rift Herald, but that random alien spots them out. He's going to try and at least make things a little bit difficult. You can see setup roaming down, 1v9 there as well. A couple of stuns going to miss from both of the mid laners there. Inspiration now in the back line. It looks like Shelly, though, going to run out of the aggro meter. She's just going to full reset, and Boise State disengaging there. That random alien making his presence felt. And that top lane difference right now with Inspiration kind of being able to bully Prominence Blade, definitely I think he's going to not be in Boise State's favor. Got to get that Poppy online, so might have to wait a little bit before Boise State forces any major objectives.
Yeah, that matchup is definitely tough with all of the pressure as well from Inspiration and the opportunity again to use that Stand United there. It is up and available once more just in case Georgia Southern decides to get pretty aggressive. Once again, 6-2 is the kill spread, and they get close to a 3K gold differential in Georgia Southern's favor, which is a considerable amount here at just over 9.5 minutes for the Broncos. So they're going to need to play safe so far in almost every single lane. And even the mid lane, as we can see that random alien very, very deep going into the enemy jungle. It looks like clearing out the Raptors camp right here. Galaxy Savage towards the bottom side of the map, so nothing can be done to prevent that, and that's going to give Georgia Southern even more of an ego boost if you're able to go into the enemy jungle, clear out a little bit, and head back to your own objectives. Once again, Boise State trying to do something with Shelly. There's some pings coming out here from Prominence Blade on the top side. Hey, these guys are potentially showing their faces, but it looks like that random alien is going to go through with the recall.
Yeah, good job by Prominence Blade. Boise State keeping an eye on Shelly up in the top lane. Don't want to fall behind another objective so far. We do see Prominence Blade is going to have that teleport on the line much before the Shen, but the Stand United is going to be online, so both top laners can join any fight that they please. Might be on Prominence Blade to cancel out the Shen Stand United, but of course, then you're in taunt range. It's going to be a little bit difficult there. I do want to see how the set build's going to come as the tanking set. Looks like that is a Cinderhulk jungle item finish there, so definitely going to put a lot of pressure on Boise State from setup and gimmick to be the front of the damage there, because you have two beefy top laners and you don't really have a lot of physical damage besides gimmick, so he's got to play very, very well going into later team fights.
And a good job of setup as well, maintaining this lane. I know that Xerath into Vhagar is a very difficult lane. That's usually one of those Xerath wins lane, Vhagar wins game kind of instances. If they can get to the later game, that cage is going to be absolutely pivotal, especially with that random alien going in for the ultimate or using that ghost to engage. Oh, the showstopper's going to come out the mid side, though. Very, very quickly, setup taken down a 1v9.
Yeah, that's the power of set right there. The showstopper, the ability to basically bring anyone back where you want them to do, make them an easy target. As 1v9 even blew the flash, wasn't able to get away. Once again, Shelly, the major objective of choice here. Looks like once again they should be able to push the random alien off. Nice stun there by Prominence Blade. Ult going to come out. There's the Vhagar cage. There's the Stand United coming in. That random alien should be tanky enough. Center shield's going to come out as well. And now Galaxy Savage caught all alone. Teleport going to be committed there by 1v9. His Inspirations chasing down that set through the jungle. Prominence Blade has to back as well. Xerath's going to make everything just a bit more tricky. Nice binding though by Woojin, and that should mean everybody's going to get out safely. Galaxy Savage running for his life, but that will mean Shelly finally going to fall over to Georgia Southern.
That was close. Galaxy Savage almost exposing, I think it was not set up there, but Prominence Blade recalling in the bush. Galaxy Savage trying to figure out, hey, I need to run down this way, but if I show myself in this bush, or if that AoE from the Xerath ultimate happens to stop that recall, I will certainly feel ashamed, but wow, Prominence Blade was able to get that recall through Galaxy Savage, taking the aggression and not going down. So that is the Xerath ultimate down for Georgia Southern. But as we know, it is not a ridiculously long cooldown, so you can expect it to come back out again quickly. And in the meantime, Boise State is down bottom, managing to pick up 2 plates 1 minute before those plates go down here at 14.
Dragon coming up on the map in the next minute or so. The Stand United from Shen might not be online, and then 1v9 not going to have his teleport. Boise State, their full plethora of teleports available, so they're going to have the advantage to the team fight break out, but still got to be very careful for that Shen taunt for Prominence Blade. Seen several teleports canceled by a Shen taunting in, one of the harder top laners to sort of channel that teleport off on. So Boise State has to be very careful that they don't expect the Poppy coming in, and then Prominence Blade has to sadly say, guys, it got canceled by teleport, good luck.
We do see, even though Gimmick and Woojin have been pressured a lot towards this bottom side, Gimmick still has the upper hand on the creep score, so doing a really good job of maintaining this lane, considering how much pressure the concussive blows from Star Dream have had. And also a little bit of roam that we've gotten from Woojin. Gimmick occasionally having to maintain this lane on his own here. Star Dream wants to go in on this one, but they may not be aware Galaxy Savage is here in the wings.
And there's the exhaust. Here comes that random alien as well. Showstopper going to go out onto Shinsu. Teleport's being channeled by both sides here. Galaxy Savage going to have to use that shield as he tries to run away. That random alien going to go all in and get a fear. Going to get a couple of kills picked up for his team. Make that 3, and Prominence Blade just going to have to fall over as well. 4 kills picked up by Georgia Southern, and they're setting themselves up nicely for a second dragon.
4 for 0. Nothing gained there for Boise State. It seemed like good recourse as Galaxy Savage moved in on that, but that random alien's return to the fight was so quick to precede Galaxy Savage's entrance that there was not much that Boise State could do. The teleport was committed there, and Prominence Blade really falling behind here in this lane behind it. CS now 0-2-0. Probably didn't offer much for that fight. Actually, definitely didn't, as we can see. The all 4 kills went over to Georgia Southern, and now Boise State is really going to have to watch out for that Hecarim. They need to, they need to get to the point where setup can be a part of these fights, because again, that cage will be massive in terms of that random alien. You can't stop yourself from diving into that if you utilize the ultimate to engage, and that cage pops up towards the backside. So I feel like Boise State will find advantage again. Set up, the Vagar loses the lane, but might win the game here for Boise State. There's still a lot of potential for that, as about a 3.5k lead is in Georgia Southern's favor at the moment.
Yeah, Boise State needs setup to do that to something like that random alien, as you mentioned, or even that Senna, as you see 3-0-6. The Black Cleaver finish. The Mana Immune's been stacking for quite a while, and that's going to be the problem for Boise State, is that Senna. I don't know the soul count. Can't quite see that one, unfortunately, but if you assume it's as good as his score count, that's going to be an issue for Boise State. The later and later she gets that, Mirror Mana is going to be online even earlier. I think that was like a sub 7 minutes here, the goddess that she finished. So that's going to be something for Boise State, is how do you pick onto Senna? Who's going to get onto that back line? Because that Galaxy Savage, you can showstopper in, but the tank set build, the one thing I don't like, you don't have all that damage. You need to follow from somewhere. Boise State's got to watch out and try to take down that Senna as soon as possible.
And it's still not proving to be tanky enough, as we've seen Galaxy Savage dive in on a couple fights. And the timing might just be a little off. It's not as though they're bad games or bad responses. It's just the response from Georgia Southern is that much stronger onto those engages to follow up Galaxy Savage's joining the fight there. So first turret gonna go down, going over to Georgia Southern. That's gonna increase the gold lead for Georgia Southern over the Broncos at the moment. 2 dragons in their pockets as well. Really full control of this map, as the single Shelly did go out and over to Georgia Southern. Now engage here.
Yeah, that random alien going to get caught out. Shutdown going over to setup. That's just what Boise State wanted. Caitlin Traps, unfortunately, not going to land onto the Senna Shinshu, and Star Dream going to get away. But that random alien bit off a little more than you can chew. And as you mentioned, Jolly, you could showstopper the horse in when that ult's on cooldown. Now 1v9 going to get caught. I don't think anyone else was there. There is the Stand United, though. Final Spark not going to be enough to get the kill, but setup's going to pick up something. Now Galaxy Savage going to have to run for his life. Concussive Blow's going to land onto Woojin. He is going to get a double root. There's the Vygar cage as well, but Inspiration not tanky enough for Gimmick in the back line now, and Georgia Southern has to be very careful. The Boise State damage dealer starting to come online. Broncos picking up a couple.
There you go, setup sitting at 5-1-1. So while we can look at the other side at that 4-0-7 Senna, that is definitely scary. But setup of all the players on the Boise State team, this is the person that they need to help carry the game in the later aspects of it. Really, really solid cages coming up. That's going to force positioning out of Georgia Southern. And as long as Boise State can collapse on these without going in a little too far while having eyes on the remainder of Georgia Southern, they can find themselves successful. But, oh, the ultimate used there to push away that random alien who decided to ghost in on that. So good response from Prominence Blade on the top side.
Yeah, Prominence Blade saw that random alien taking out his red ward and said, all right, let's see if you can come get me. Then just launches him away. Great job by Prominence Blade to stay alive there. Not let that Hecarim continue to get ahead. As you can see, working on that Triforce. Now he does have the Cinder Hulk there, so trying to find that first damage item. As everybody's starting to convening in the mid lane here, as you mentioned, Johnny, that gold lead was up to almost 4K, shrunk down to 3K, but Boise State's still got to be very careful if a fight does break out. They've got to know Georgia Southern has probably got a bit more damage on their side right now.
And a bit more vision as well. Boise State really trying to keep up at least some defensive vision now, because most of their aggressive or even neutral style vision in the middle of the river is being removed here by the very momentous Georgia Southern team. That random alien still feeling pretty confident, even though he lost his life in that previous engage, sitting at 3, 1, and 5 and dealing a considerable amount of damage. Getting really good engages as well onto the Broncos here. There is a nice ward across the other side of that river towards Georgia Southern's blue side. So Boise State really trying to find some opportunities to get some vision and potentially make an engage before Georgia Southern is able to, as being able to catch out that Hecarim or other members before the Hecarim is able to engage is certainly going to be helpful. Shelly coming out here in the mid lane. Georgia Southern looking for another tower.
Galaxy Savage going to be dropping very, very low. He's all alone and isolated from the rest of his team. He is going to fall there. We'll see if Heraldina can get a charge onto that turret. Looks like she will be able to do just that. We'll see if the turret falls in the process. Doesn't look so. Boise State going to be able to hold on to that one. Unfortunately for the Broncos, though, the Earth Dragon has spawned, and Georgia Southern could be setting themselves up for match point. Shen does have the Stand United and the teleport. Prominence Blade has a teleport as well, but for Boise State, that Smite not going to be online for this, so they might have to hand this one over.
Yeah, not much he can do on that engage. It does look like the Mountain Drake's going to go over. That will put Georgia Southern at soul point here. They're feeling pretty good about that one. Inspiration is going to jump onto Prominence Blade here once again on the top side. Prominence Blade getting bullied so hard at the moment. 0-2 and 0. And now we can see just that one W from 1v9, taking out almost a third of Gimmick's health on the Caitlyn. Really everyone on Boise State's side is going to have to be safe, and we are now at the team point stage, though, where this Vigar can, not frontline, but can at least be there on towards the frontline side when Georgia Southern attempts to begin these engages, or potentially catching somebody out so Boise State can get 1 or 2 picks and try to bring themselves back into this one.
Trying to get a pick onto Prominence Blade. He's going to stay alive for now. It has to be very careful under that turret. Just going to try and clear some minions. Does have to teleport if he wants to try and get back. Not sure if there's really an objective he needs to be saving it for at this point. Do see for setup, though, he has gone for the Hextech GOP and the Twin Shadows there, so not going to have as much AD as maybe you're used to for a Vigar, so definitely going to be working on that Death Caps next. So Boise State probably a couple minutes away from getting that Vigar fully online, like you mentioned, Jolly, and really being able to slam down in team fights. But I understand the utility build. You have the Glacial Augment. You just want to trap somebody in the cage and set them up for an easy pick for your team.
And I do like the Twin Shadows for that purpose. The GLP to get a little bit of a boost in, a little bit of damage down if you catch them in that. So some really good potential for replacement there by setup to be able to get in on these engages. Again, Georgia Southern is just intruding on Boise State and encroaching on their property so quickly with that random alien on the front line that they haven't had a lot of time to respond, and setup is the answer to that response. Woojin has been doing a spectacular job of landing the bindings on that random alien when there is a gank, or when there has been a gank down towards the bottom side, but the point of the game now is definitely at the roam area, and we are now seeing another increase in that gold lead. There it is, that random alien getting hit by another binding, using the ultimate, the Wuxin flashes over.
Now, great play there by Woojin, binding that random alien. You called it, Jolly. He's done a spectacular job. I mean, he has probably saved himself at least 2 or 3 times from imminent death, just binding that Hecarim. That horse State's being locked down. Now Stun going to land onto Stardream there. Going to put up that shield. Now, as you now see, looks like the Stand United is going to be coming in on top of him. Shen's going to land a nice taunt onto Galaxy Savage. He is in the cage. Shield going to come out. That random alien trying to jump on the backline setup. Going to eliminate him. Everyone alive right now for Boise State. Braum trying to frontline with that shield. Setup, unfortunately, going to get caught out there. Taunt going to land. Showstopper going to go on to Shen. He, unfortunately, will take down Galaxy Savage. Gimmick, though, doing the best he can in that back line, putting out some damage. Going to land a 90 caliber net onto 1v9. Concussive blows going to land. There's a pair of flashes and a triple kill for 1v9, and Boise State in a fight that looked to be going their way. Going to end up losing that 4-2.
Not even Star Dream going down. Granted, that was the beginning of the fight. They did take down that random alien and Inspiration, so it was at least somewhat satisfying, but 17 kills to 9 kills at the moment. That's going to increase the goal differential to over 5K now for Georgia Southern. Still plenty to work with for the Broncos here on the red side of the map, but Galaxy Savage is really hurting, sitting at 0-5-6 right now. Really doing his best to get in and begin these engages for the team or respond to these engages. We know Prominence Blade kind of started that one with the Braum in the jungle, or in the river bush there. But Boise State, once setup ends up going down, it's almost as though all is lost here, aside from Gimmick being able to poke out some damage on the back line. The problem is the front line for Boise State is just not surviving quite long enough, or really not supplying enough utility to keep Setup and Gimmick in a safe position there. Gimmick almost getting away. We saw the 90 caliber net hit. We saw some really solid damage come down. But Star Dream on this Braum is doing an excellent job of landing concussive blows early on, so the rest of his team is able to proc off the remaining 3 hits on that Gimmick. There's one more opportunity, and that is going to be at Shinzu picking up the kill there, as a couple ultimates were expended just to take Gimmick out of that fight.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what Georgia Southern wants to do with this. Don't quite see any pings yet on the Baron, but with a pick like that, maybe something they're setting up for. Of course, Prominence Blade's still up there, and then Galaxy Savage can maybe try for the clutch steal, but they definitely are setting up around that area. Senna not the highest damage 80 carry onto Baron, so something Georgia Southern definitely has to think about as Boise State maybe predicts that as well. And this looks like an attempted bush setup, and Boise State visionless right now. Galaxy Savage going to walk right in. He's going to fall over. Woojin's going to join him in the process. Setup now trying to run away. What a death bush set up by Georgia Southern, and that should be a Baron for them.
And instantly Setup threw down the cage, but it was already too late. That random alien had ulted, was beyond it, but at the time it was engaged there, so the rest of the team couldn't follow up on Setup. That allowed Setup to escape from that fight, but 2 members already going down, including Galaxy Savage. Georgia Southern immediately saying, all right, we got this. That was a fantastic push play by them, a very aggressive one, but recognizing that most of Boise State was out of that jungle and needed to recall before re-engaging, gave them a solid opportunity. Prominence Blade gonna use that ultimate to try to escape here, but it doesn't look like it is going to be followed up with much more.
No, I think Prominence Blade had accepted he needed to get the rest of the team away. Boise State with the perfect call, while Georgia Southern was on the crucial Baron. As you see the timer up in your top right-hand corner, Boise State said we can't allow them to have Mountain Soul as well, so Gimmick and Setup jump right on top of it, just able to take it down before Inspiration teleported in, and then Prominence Blade had to sacrifice himself. But I'm not sure that one dragon is going to matter. As you see the Baron buff minions beating down the inhibitor now in the mid lane. This could be something Georgia Southern takes the fight and maybe finishes the game here, but Boise State has some other options. Galaxy Savage is going to try and grip somebody in. He's going to get caught out in the stun. There's the ace in the hole on Inspiration, blocked by that shield. Star Dream now going to block a ton of damage as well. Georgia Southern going to take that mid inhibitor and walk away cleanly.
This Braum has been playing spectacularly, and a lot of the times Braum goes a little under the radar in terms of MVPs or people just playing incredibly well because of how much he kind of just jumps in and tanks things. But he has not been utilizing his Glacial Fissures. Maybe that's the only qualm I would say, is that I haven't seen many Glacial Fissures, if any, really, on a lot of these engages. Aside from that, though, he has been taking a ton of bindings, throwing up that shield at the perfect time, and again, layering down the concussive blows onto the enemy team, onto Boise State here so incredibly well. So definitely pointing out that I'm wildly impressed with Star Dream's ability to play here. Now we can see a little bit of pressure coming across as we have Baron minions in 3 separate lanes for Georgia Southern. Now Boise State is going to have to respond, and this is going to be really difficult. It is very tough to respond to a split engage like this with the Baron buff, with being down almost 10k gold now at just 27.5 minutes in the game. Boise State really needs to be careful on this engage because this could spell the end of the game for them.
Yeah, I like them giving away that tier 2 bot tower. Wouldn't be surprised. Maybe they do the same thing top. Just trying to hold on to the inhibitors, at least prevent those super minions in more lanes than just mid right now. And you can see if Stardream is going to get caught out, they're going to put the shield up, block any incoming damage. Ace in the hole going to come out, but Gimmick has to be careful. Has to flash away from that random alien. He is going to get exhausted. Showstopper is going to come out as well, and the teams trade 1 for 1. Double stun landed there by Setup. Not going to be able to get anyone else. He will get a shutdown onto 1v9 actually, and Boise State going to try and chase. Looks like Prominence Blade and Inspiration have a little bit of a wet noodle fight up in the top lane there. Does look like Shinsu and Stardream just again going to make it out. You see 6-0 and 15 on that Senna. That has been a problem for Boise State, but they did get rid of the Baron buff on a couple of crucial members.
I also think Stand United was actually canceled there by Prominence Blade. We can see the cooldown on. Obviously, no Stand United coming through, so Prominence Blade doing a good job of preventing the entrance of that Shen into the rest of the fight. Boise State at least picking up a little bit of pressure there by taking down several members, but as we can see, Shinsu still running a perfect game, 6-0 and 15. Not only the most kills on that team, but not having died a single time. Certainly allows for a lot of damage. Luckily, not as much to these objectives as we might see from some other ADCs. And still the most kills in the game currently on Setup, though. 8-2 and 2. Did end up finishing up that. Rabadons has a still active stopwatch actually in the bag there and available. So as long as Setup can find some solid picks, Boise State has the potential to push back on this. It's just very difficult when you've got a Braum running in, soaking up all of that damage, taking as much of the crowd control as possible. And you got someone like a Xerath on the back line who immediately is going to go old. Either Setup or Gimmick has been a very, very big priority on the focus there. As we can see, a Mountain Drake is going to be the next one to come up here. Boise State finally getting their first dragon of the game a bit earlier on. But again, Soul Point here, Georgia Southern at 3.
Yeah, Boise State probably can't afford to hand that shield over. They're just holding on in these engagements, and that extra shield might be enough to put Georgia Southern over the top. Inspiration going to get caught out there. Galaxy Savage going to try and grip him back in. Unfortunately, nothing going to come of it. That kill onto 1v9 also very important. He did have the Magi, so going to lose 10 stacks on that for falling as well. That's going to help out Boise State, try and limit some of that ability power. You can see the two needlessly large rods working on his own Rabadons to match setup there. As we do see Galaxy Savage once again going to hop onto Star Dreams. Unfortunately for that set, there's no one with a red nameplate close to him. So this might be a very, very tricky dragon attempt, or dragon steal even, for Boise State, because right now all the vision on Georgia Southern's side.
They're clearly setting up for this one. All 5 members here at the Dragon Pit, a couple proxy members towards Boise State side of the jungle to pressure them back in case they do decide to engage on this one. Again, close to a 10K gold lead at this point in the game, so Boise State has to be very careful about this one.
Yeah, Spooky Ghost going to come out there. That random alien going to ult right on to Setup. Boise State not going to have any peel for the Vigar. He's going to have to flash over the wall. 1v9 actually going to snipe him out there as well. That's the first kill for the side of Georgia Southern. Now we're going to see Gimmick dropping very low. He is going to go down. Prominence Blade is going to pick up Inspiration, but Boise State out of damage. That is going to be another 4 kill as Wujin is just going to have to run away, and that is going to be Soul for the side of Georgia Southern.
Soul, another Mountain Dragon. That's just what they need to take down some more objectives. Only 1 member lost for Georgia Southern. Boise State losing out on 4 members. That's, you know, more than 30 seconds of gray screen for all 4 of those members there of the Broncos. 26 and 12, more than double the kills going over to Georgia Southern. And they have finally found that 10K mark, 60K to 50K even here. Boise State now forced to try to defend this base. We've got about 10 seconds left on multiple members of the Broncos to respawn. Georgia Southern is not going to push their luck any more than that. A new Baron has spawned up, and they have the potential to go back and buy after a very solid push, and that Dragon Soul pickup as well. So this is going to be even scarier for Boise State now, having lost so much in that last fight.
Yeah, 1v9 went from 8 stacks to 22 on the Magi. Andy picked up his Rabbit in the process, so he's going to be a thorn in the side for Boise State. And also, as you talked about, Jolly, that front line for Boise State, I think they've kind of got to figure out what the plan is, because Setup just got ran down by that random alien, had a flash over the blue buff wall, and flashed right into Xerath. So Boise State's got to find a way to keep random alien off Setup. He has 8 kills, tied for the most in the game, but he's not able to do anything getting trained down like that. So maybe you've got to have Prominence Blade hold back. Maybe Galaxy Savage just has to save the showstopper for Hecarim, because right now, Setup's not really able to do much with all of those kills.
I think that's a lot of the problem too, is Galaxy Savage keeps trying to do the jungle thing, keeps trying to go in and say, all right, you know, I'll be on the front line of this, I'll be our vision, since we don't have any laid down towards that dragon pit. But 0-7 and 8 is a really painful place to be at, and the creep score as well, 225 for that random alien and only 163 for Galaxy Savage, so really everything being lost there for them.
Random Alien gonna jump on Gimmick as the ace in the hole came out. 1v9 gonna go on a rampage there. Going to get the first kill. That Random Alien dropping very, very low. He's gonna charge right back in. Setup gonna be another member to fall. Woojin will go down there. Gimmick trying to run away from the rest of the squad, but he will fall as well. Does look like once again Boise State avoids the ace, but I don't think Prominence Blade is gonna be able to do much of anything as Super Minions and 5 members of Georgia Southern come running into the Bronco base.
Georgia Southern was like, you know what, we don't know where Providence Blade went. We really don't care. We're going to go invade the base. We got 4 members. We don't need an ace to win this one, but they're going to find it anyway. The Senna picks up the final kill, and that is going to be game 1 going over to Georgia Southern. 0 for 1 for Boise State to start.
Yeah, Georgia Southern winners in that one, and the Senna 7-0 and 23, 30 of 31 kill participation for Shinsu in that bot lane. Just absolutely incredible play as Georgia Southern picks up game 1. This is the Gridiron Series between Boise State and Georgia Southern, which should have been a prequel to the Boise State-Georgia Southern football game. Of course, that's not happening, but that's not going to slow us down. We'll still meet on the fields of justice. No coronavirus there, and Boise State right now got to find a way to turn that game around, and I think Jolly has to start with probably either banning Senna or just heavily targeting bot lane, because you don't get 30 of 31 kill participation unless the rest of the team's fighting around you.
Senna, like I said, is very, very strong right now, and that Braum played so exceptionally well to go along with it that it made it almost impossible to break through that bottom side. Even though Gimmick was doing a really good job early on in maintaining CS, they had some back and forth pressure there. I do also think a big struggle for Boise State, again, was the jungler there. Really just going down in most of those engages, sitting at 0-7 and 8, 0-8 and 8, I think towards the end of the game. And the opposing jungler on the Hecarim was so invasive, and not just in lanes into Boise State's jungle. I think that's going to be another thing. Boise State has to actually commit a little bit of extra gold to laying down some defensive vision earlier on in the game so that they can prevent that kind of thing from happening, because Setup did have the opportunity to sway the game, and there were many fights that went slightly in favor of Boise State thanks to Setup getting some really good cages, getting some really good burst damage down, but that scaling just wasn't able to get hit towards the end, and I think a little bit more CC as well on the side of Boise State would help. You had the binding from the Lux and you had the cage from the Vigar, but really not enough towards the top side with the Poppy and the Set as the jungle top. There wasn't much opportunity for ganks coming from that end. You need at least a little bit of CC for the jungle to be able to help out, and we saw no appearance from the jungle in the top side, specifically because there was no real way to properly engage on that, just thanks to the composition that was selected.
Yeah, and I would agree with how there wasn't a lot of damage from the jungle top. If you're going to go with something like a tank Set, put Prominence Blade on Camille. It wasn't banned away in the first phase. Shen was the first pick, so you knew who your lane partner was. You didn't have to worry about a counter pick, so I was kind of surprised if Boise State knew it was going to be a tankier Set jungle. Let's put Prominence Blade on that Camille. He loves that champion. Probably the biggest one trick of any of the 10 players in this game. Would have thought they would have put him on that, but Boise State immediately bans away the Shen. Inspiration was just a bully in the top side, and once again, a Kane ban going to come out there as well. Something the Georgia Southern jungler likes to play, but doesn't look like they want to allow it. There's the Twisted Fate ban. Everything shaping up to be very similar to game 1, at least in the ban so far.
Does seem to be one of the few champions that we've got for Galaxy Savages. The Kane, and not as much of the jungle as of late. A lot of support champions actually here, so a lot of versatility in this player in particular. So we'll see if that Kane is just a specific ban against our Galaxy Savage in the jungle here. The Galio is going to be another ban, and it's basically the same for Boise State, aside from that Shen as the first pick. And Georgia Southern, I'm not sure this... Oh, no, okay. I figured that was the case just because it was in the middle of the match there. That might actually be a selection that needed to go up towards the top side. Yes, the Vigar was enough from Setup that it is not something that Georgia Southern wants to even attempt to deal with here. Probably a good choice by them.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see. There's the Ezreal pick for Boise State, so they're going to try and put Gimmick on something that has a little bit more escapability than the Caitlyn there. The 90 caliber net can only take you so far. I am really curious to see, with Camille on the table, will Boise State pick it? You're going to have 2 picks from Georgia Southern. I would think Prominence Blade has to be very confident, and that was what also shocked me. Twisted Fate being banned over Senna, probably not something I would agree with, but maybe they said that bot lane was a fluke, let's run it back, because Boise State didn't ban either of those, and that was the dominating lane in that win for Georgia Southern.
Yeah, we saw the Fizz come out last time as well, but the Vigar was picked up before that, so it certainly makes sense. The Bard is going to be the selection there, and that same bottom lane that just kind of overran Boise State towards the end of it, the Eagles are going to go with, again, a solid pick, and pretty standard in the meta for going towards that bottom side, so you can get a little bit more counters in terms of the jungle and the top lane here. Boise State, though, again, needs a little bit more CC. I think that is going to help, and hey, there it is. You called it the Camille. The only unfortunate side of this is the Camille does have a couple easier counter picks. However, Boise State, as long as we have a good enough play coming from Prominence Blade there up in the top side, it is the potential, but the Aurelia is going to be selected, so it's going to be another tough top lane for Prominence Blade this game.
Yeah, I still like the pick coming out. It is a best-of-3 series, so you're up against the wall with Georgia Southern winning game 1, so put everyone on their best champion if Georgia Southern's not going to respect it. So I like the Camille pick there from Prominence Blade. We'll see if he can prove why he plays that champion so much. Yasuo banned away by Georgia Southern. There's that Hecarim taken off the board by Boise State. I do like that ban as well if you're going to ban some of the champions away from game 1. The set ban, interesting from Georgia Southern. We kind of talked about it, Jolly. Don't know if either of us really liked how Galaxy Savage played on that, but it's still a very, very strong champion, so I guess I can understand Georgia Southern taking that one away.
Yeah, not necessarily played to how they exactly wanted it to go, but hey, it always feels nice to have a respect ban like that. The Jarvan and that Hecarim as the final 2 bans. 3 jungle bans there, as we can see. Very aggressive, high mobility, very high engage jungles being removed from the Eagles. And definitely a good choice by Boise State. The Yasuo being banned out there as well for the potential mid lane. Eagles don't want to deal with that. The Sejuani is going to be the pickup here, and I'm sure Boise State feels a little bit more comfortable going into that in the jungle. Still very, very aggressive, still a lot of potential for a full engage, but it's going to take a lot longer for a Sejuani to make their way into a lane as opposed to that Hecarim who's able to invade very, very quickly on.
Yeah, that was going to be the one thing. Sejuani's still very, very powerful as the Victor is picked up there for Boise State, but Sejuani's not going to just jump in on your mid laner and one-shot him before anyone else can help. So Boise State, I do like that they're going to have a little bit less aggressive jungler than the Trundle picked up. So that's something that one's going to benefit. I know chat talking about just how tanky that Braum was in game 1. Sejuani's also going to love to build a lot of defenses, and Trundle's going to say, you build the defensive items, I'll build the offensive items, and then I'm going to take all your defenses in the process.
I'm actually honestly surprised we haven't seen anything like an Olaf coming out. I feel like an Olaf would have been spectacular for that team composition that they have. Also really powerful right now and all the time, and helps make up for a lot of the CC that might be available there on the side of the Eagles. Not quite as much as they might have had last game, but still a lot of potential initiation from everyone here on this team, as we can see that Echo going to be going in the mid lane there against the Victor. But I do like Boise State's composition much better. I'm excited to see this Braum because we've seen how pivotal a Braum can be. And not just with the ultimates, but also with the journey being available for Boise State to escape or to get a solid surprise engage there. And, you know, while I would have loved to see the Olaf, the Trundle is a good second in terms of what is available, what is to be offered there, and a good choice from the Sejuani here.
Yeah, and I'd like to see Galaxy Savage this time on that Trumbull start up on the blue side here, Boise State's on blue, and then end up on bot side when he's done clearing, because we definitely saw Georgia Southern wants to play through that bot lane. I mean, Senna and Braum both had like 80% plus kill participation, so I'd love to see sort of a different start there from Galaxy Savage, setting himself up maybe to meet the jungle in the bot side there. As we do get to Doc's keys to the game for League of Legends, good mid-jungle synergy, play for those objectives, get that value over time, and never take take a fair fight. They all, of course, are brought to you by Count, whose Identity Trust Global Network delivers real-time fraud prevention. Account protection enables personalized customer experiences for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. Linked to their award-winning AI, it analyzes signals from 32 billion annual interactions in order to help personalize your user experience. If you want to find out more, check out Count.com. That is KOUNT.com. As we get ready for Game 2 between Boise State and Georgia Southern in our Gridiron Series. Fish and Jolly here on the cast. Boise State losing Game 1, Jolly, so they would not shock me. They maybe go something crazy aggressive here early on in the game. Sejuani's not going to be as tanky at level 1, so maybe an early invade from Boise State trying to shut down that Sejuani, because that random alien played that Hecarim just perfectly.
Yeah, definitely a scary play. And so much aggression early on, later game, really good placement as well. And you could tell very solid communication across the board from the Eagles in general. So Boise State, like I said at the end of the last match, maybe getting a little bit of early vision, early defensive vision to prevent something like that. Sejuani, obviously, again, is not going to be able to invade and deal quite as much early on as we saw coming from the Hecarim. So that is the saving grace for Boise State, having banned out the Hecarim as well as the Nunu and the Jarvan to end things out, because that would have been another one that would work exceptionally well with the composition that it seems like Georgia Southern likes to go with. And Boise State, we're used to having an aggressive comp just like that as well. We'll see if they can make this one work. I'm certainly looking towards the bottom side for some good action for Boise State here. But it could go either way. This is game point for Georgia Southern.
And Boise State, Georgia Southern meeting in the first Gridiron rivalry game of the year. Georgia Southern, as you mentioned, up 1-0. Yeah, and bot lane's got to be key. What does Boise State do to shut down Shinsu? How does Georgia Southern play around Shinsu? These are going to be two things that I want to keep an eye on here as we do load into the game. We do see that Gimmick has brought the teleport. Prominence Blade has it as well, and then a couple of teleports on the side of Georgia Southern. So teleports, once again, going to be all square here on Tua's side. But yeah, how do they shut down Shinsu? Because he was phenomenal on Senna, and actually a little bit of a change there. Last game he went with the Doran's shield. This time against an Ezreal, going to go with the Doran's blade on the Senna. So definitely a more aggressive start for the side of the Georgia Southern AD carry.
They're feeling confident about how well that lane went last time. But again, keep in mind, Gimmick did an amazing job of maintaining that lane, of maintaining creep score. We had an occasional roam from Wujin on the Lux towards the mid side to try to get a little bit more pressure for setup. That ended up working well, but I can imagine this Braum is going to be sticking very close to the side of Gimmick. As yes, there is escapability with the, having the flash and the shift both in the pocket of that Ezreal, but Wujin will need to keep pressure on. We've seen how much damage Shinsu can get. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it may have been either a perfect game or a one-death game for Shinsu. So dealing a lot of damage, having very high kill participation, as you mentioned. And we already know how good Stardream is at getting those concussive blow stacks on relatively early. But same thing as last time. No ignites here on either side. Setup going with the barrier, and the teleport once again being picked up by 1v9 who is on the Echo. So a lot of opportunity for Georgia Southern to engage on the bottom side like we saw in the last game. So early pressure down there should be expected.
Yeah, red buff start for the side of that random alien. Prominence Blade going to find that one out, was waiting in the wings. Looks like the junglers actually might collide in this river here. Both of them going to have red buff as the duel breaks out here. Stun going to land on the Galaxy Savage, but he's winning that trade easily here. Should maybe force a flash or a dash. There's the flash from that random alien. So great job by Galaxy Savage winning that early jungle pressure.
Good way to start that one up. And that is going to prevent Sejuani from even appearing earlier on there. But 1v9 has decided to retaliate. Luckily for Galaxy Savage, setup did come up around that the top of that riverside. So there was a little bit of interference, and everyone's just going to remain back in lane.
Yeah, everyone's going to calm back down here. Stun's going to land on the Inspiration. Going to have to dash away there. We do see Sejuani heading down towards her blue buff there. Thought they might go red-blue right to bot lane, but unfortunately that bot lane is pushing right now, so a little bit harder to gank. We see Trundle now going over to his Krug, see if he wants to maybe go top lane after that. Of course, you have two more DPS top lanes, I should say, this time. So a gank top lane, actually a viable strategy, unlike last game where Poppy Shen just kind of want to hit each other around and CS for a while.
And especially with, the Camille going into the Aurelia, if there is continued pressure here from Prominence Blade onto the creep wave, that's where Camille has an advantage over the Aurelia. If you fight within the creeps, though, as that Camille going a little bit too deep, Aurelia will certainly have the upper hand and be able to more easily land that second Q proc. And if that becomes the situation, Prominence Blade may have to use that hook shot to disengage. But the ability to disengage is still there, as Prominence Blade has a lot of pressure early on. There it is. That's exactly what I was waiting for. A little bit of vision, and they're going to keep it quite aggressive in that tri-bush and hope that the scuttle vision shows if Sejuani, that random alien, decides to pop up into the top side. So Prominence Blade playing this one very, very well. And there it is. The hook shot actually going to be used for an aggressive engage just to deal a bit more damage to Inspiration, who really can't retaliate on that one.
Yeah, Prominence Blade maybe bullying a little bit more than and getting back at him for what happened in game one, where Inspiration on that Shen just kept beating down Prominence Blade. As there's another hook shot going to land. The stun's going to hit for both of them. The shield is going to come out. Prominence Blade going to flash in, and that's first blood over to Boise State. Prominence Blade playing spectacularly early on that Camille.
Very impressive play. Like I said, it can be really dangerous if, as the Camille, you go in while there are minions available for the Aurelia. But Prominence Blade has been specifically attempting to avoid that and really only going in, not going past those minions unless there's a hook shot available to actually dive beyond the minion wave, as we saw at the beginning of the fight that happened just before that first kill was taken there. The flash used by both top laners, but the teleport available for Prominence Blade, so it's going to be a recall, a solid buy there, sitting at 1-0-0 and getting that first blood gold. Likely going to use the teleport to go back up to the top side, and now Prominence Blade has a bigger upper hand. Inspiration is going to have to be a little bit less aggressive. Either that or that random alien is going to have to focus some attention towards the top side, which might end up being dangerous for Georgia Southern. As we said, the real pressure for this game should be towards the bottom, as we've seen Shinsu and Stardream perform incredibly well down here with the help of that random alien. And there it is. We are going to see the magical journey come through.
Yeah, nice pillar there as well. Teleport going to be committed by 1v9. Boise State smartly going to disengage here. Echo's going to jump right onto Galaxy Savage. Cuts blows going to proc there. The exhaust going to come out, so Shinsu going to pick his first one up of game two. We do see setup roaming down. Does not have access to the teleport this time. Unfortunately, probably not going to get in range soon enough. So a nice teleport response there by 1v9. And Georgia Southern going to win what was an attempted gank from Boise State.
It was a good attempt, the magical journey with Galaxy Savage there, but such a quick teleport and good response from 1v9. The Hextech Ultimatum coming out on the top side.
Yeah, Prominence Blade running away as soon as the random alien showed up there. Not level 6, so not going to have access to the Glacial Prison, but still, you don't want to deal with that Sejuani, with that stacking stun, and throw away the leads you had already. We do see the Tear of the Goddess finished now by Senna, so both of the bot laners going to have their Tear of the Goddesses stacking. His Inspiration going to get jumped on again, but that random alien is going to show up, and this time just barely save that Aurelia. Prominence Blade just absolutely dominating in the top lane right now.
Excellent to see. This is where they need that pressure, and that's why you go with a main like the Camille. We saw it banned out, I think, in the second ban phase of the last game from Georgia Southern, and that would be the reason why Prominence Blade really showing a lot of prowess on that Camille and a lot of potential, whether it's early on, whether it's later in the game. That Hextech Ultimatum can be huge, as well as the hook shot both to disengage and engage on these fights here. So Boise State finding the pressure that they did not have at the end of that last game. But once again, eyes on this bottom side, as that is likely where a lot of these ganks are going to come through. We've seen a couple so far towards the top side, but really nothing successful aside from that 1v1 that Prominence Blade had with Inspiration earlier on.
Yeah, and Prominence Blade has been bullying Inspiration ever since. He's been forcing that random alien to stay on the top side of his jungle. Random alien not even able to get close to that Cloud Dragon being picked up there for Boise State. And now we see 1v9 taking some poke damage there from Wujin on that part. Gonna see maybe trying to set up for a kill in the middle lane. But yeah, I really like how Boise State putting Prominence Blade on as champion has forced that random alien to say, I gotta babysit top lane, and these bottom objectives, at least the first dragon, all free for Boise State.
That is a much more comfortable start. You see the ultimate there coming out from the Ezreal, just getting some more pressure on this lane. They do have the creep score lead. We can see a 10 CS advantage for Ezreal. And Boise State picking up that first dragon as well of the game makes them feel a lot more comfortable for this potential roaming. They have a lot of mobility already on this team, and that is going to help them out quite a bit here. Much less anticlimactic in a good way so far to start this game. 1-1. In the past, that first engage, we saw a 4-for-2 going over to Georgia Southern. Now, Prominence Blade is going to try to engage on this one, going into the minions and immediately recognizing, all right, this is not one that I necessarily want to push too hard on. So some good responding pressure now from Inspiration here. After acknowledging, all right, I will get a little bit of pressure as this game goes on, even without help from that random alien. Some good poke as well from Boise State on this bottom side. So their mental is much stronger with this composition, much stronger than compared to the last game.
There's spatial pressure from that random alien. He's going to flash in as well and jump onto Woojin, going to get that stun. So Woojin will go down. Shinsu going to pick up his second kill of the game. That random alien hanging out there for so long finally saw his opportunity to attack. We do see 1v9 there in the tri-bush as well. This could be a full-on tower dive on Gimmick. He's going to have to be very careful. I'm not sure he's going to be able to get away. Going to try and flash away, but unfortunately going to get jumped on there. Stun going to land. Turret's not going to help, and that's going to be another kill picked up. Inspiration, though, going to fall as a nice rotate over from Galaxy Savage, but unfortunately the Aurelia a bit too fast. I thought he was going to go down, so Boise State not going to get up anything, and that's going to be a very decent amount of tower plates going over to Georgia Southern.
Feeling pretty good about that one. And these ganks much more successful in terms of Georgia Southern's side here. Galaxy Savage is getting so low in an attempt to help out in the top side. We can see that second Q proc doing so much damage from Inspiration. So I would definitely suggest that Galaxy Savage really just doesn't touch this top lane. Prominence Blade doing such a good job of maintaining it on his own that it's really not necessary for that Trundle to make an appearance there. No plates have gone down, but that first blood again, a 1v1 going over to Prominence Blade, feeling pretty good. This is where things can get scary, where the Aurelia can find some victorious fights. But as we saw there, none of it was placed on a Prominence Blade. It was all placed on a Galaxy Savage because of the potential for recourse there. From the old Lelouch, now Prominence Blade on the top side. Mountain Dragon going to be the next selection here by the Rift. Boise State doesn't really have any vision down towards that side, so Woojin is going to make his way up, try to clear some out, and place some of their own vision here. Really, vision control certainly going over right now to Georgia Southern, though, as we can see some relatively deep wards after that random alien was so far into Boise State's jungle.
And we do see both AD carries have finished the man immune there, so going to be able to start getting stacked a little bit more quickly. 1v9 just going to dash over the wall, so good job for Gimmick keeping up in items at least with Shinsu. Shinsu, though, winning by 2 kills, but the CS very even as well. Prominence Blade going to get stunned, jumped on there by Inspiration, still waiting for the hook shot if he wants to land a stun, but right now Inspiration going to jump on him. Conquer goes up, and Prominence Blade smartly going to fall back there. So as you mentioned, Jolly, Aurelia starting to get some of those trades going her way now.
And that's kind of to be expected at this point. Prominence Blade showed a lot of pressure early on, but that second proc for the Aurelia Q is just so much damage. Prominence Blade has the opportunity to prevent it from landing there as the Camille, but it's very difficult, and Galaxy Savage is actually going to commit a little bit more than you would think to that aggression. Inspiration does not have a flash available. Prominence Blade has that one, as well as the teleport there. The teleport almost available for 1v9 as well, so potentially an opportunity for Georgia Southern to keep more pressure down in the bottom side here. And there we can see just the speed of Inspiration, able to jump in, deal a lot of damage. Luckily that stun was avoided, and so much damage coming out from Prominence Blade there on Inspiration. A great back and forth, and that's going to send Inspiration a little farther back. Acknowledge, okay, while I do deal a lot of damage, I also take a lot of damage from this Camille. You gotta watch out for those blade legs.
Yeah, flash from Galaxy Savage trying to steal that dragon. He is going to get rooted and stunned up there right in front of the magical journey. He's going to die while he's journeying through a wall. Shinshu's going to go up on a killing spree setup now, going to get exhausted. He is going to fall as well, so a dragon steal gone wrong for Boise State. They're going to lose 2 members, and Shinsu at it again, 3-0-2.
And the flash of the wall from Galaxy Savage as well, just a little too late as the Dragon was pulled towards the front of that pit. We can see that Galaxy Savage was able to pick up the Rift Herald a little bit earlier on, so that is available for Boise State, but 0-2-0 is not the most comfortable way to start things here, and a very deep dive from the Eagles.
Yeah, Gimmick going to get tower dive there, staying alive for quite a long time. Actually going to be able to pick up Star Dream thanks to the turret. Inspiration to jump on Prominence Blade, but Woojin is there now with the exhaust, and now that's an angry Bard. Going to try and chase down that Aurelia. Galaxy Savage there as well. We'll see if Boise State can get a kill. Prominence Blade has to be very careful as the stun is going to land on the Bard. Going to try and dash back into safety there, but Galaxy Savage going to get that slow. Ultimate not going to matter, but Prominence Blade gets too close. Trying to maybe pick up a kill. He's going to go down. That allows a 1-for-1 trade, and that's not what Boise State wanted.
Not at all, especially on Prominence Blade, who had the pressure up in that early one. The Bard ultimate's going to come out to save Galaxy Savage, but it does not look like it will be enough as Echo continues to engage.
Yeah, Woojin unfortunately didn't quite get to land that stun pin at 1v9 to the wall, so now 1v9 might get to chase him down, but Setup's just going to eliminate him. 1v9 had the ult available, just didn't even choose to use it, so Boise State able to get one back, and now the kills going back and forth in rapid fire manage. Boise State still down 4 kills, down 3K gold, but able to find some picks. That's going to help them at least stay in this game for now.
Great responding play there by Setup. I love the sweeper that was used by Woojin at the last moment to get the vision onto 1v9.
Poor Gimmick there, getting tower dive. Teleport coming out from Prominence Blade. He's going to get rooted. They're going to get stunned up there as well. 4 members of Georgia Southern all there. Glacial Fisher's going to miss, but it's not going to matter. Now we see Setup jumping in there onto Inspiration. He's going to flash away. The pillar not going to be enough, but a stun does land onto that random alien, but he's just barely going to survive. Tower has picked Shinsu as its target, probably the worst target for Boise State. 3 members of Georgia Southern almost in one-shot tower range, and all 4 of them going to walk away safely.
It was absolutely a mistake to not ban out the Senna there. Absolutely, this Shinsu is insane. We saw a great attempt of Galaxy Savage to try to get in on that and get hit by the W from Shinsu, and that is the only thing that allowed that random alien to escape with their life. Several flashes used, a couple of teleports used as well on that fight. That means everyone's going to have to slowly walk back to their lanes, and Woojin still on this roam as Gimmick has just had so much pressure in the bottom side. Georgia Southern showing up so frequently here. Shelly was brought down towards the bottom side, but it is not likely that we'll see a single hit, depending.
Well, Shelly's just running down right now. Star Dream dropping very low. Nice use of Shinsu to try and get the shield from the ultimate. I don't think it's going to matter. Galaxy Savage is going to pick up that one. Yeah, I don't know if it was dropped because the timer was running out or if there was a gank and he just wanted to make sure he got it out before it went away. But it is going to get a charge, so I guess it works out, and they got a kill, but nothing onto Shinsu. Still perfect in this series. Has yet to die on that Senna, so I completely agree with you, Jolly. Should have been something Boise State banned away. It's Prominence Blade going to try and hook shot away. The Chilling Smite is going to land, trying to avoid getting stunned up there by that Sejuani, but it's not going to matter. There's the stun, and that random alien's going to pick up a kill.
Third death for Prominence Blade. We can see the ultimate coming out from 1v9 there in an attempt to continue the fight, but taking a tower shot means that 1v9 will have to disengage as the Echo. A lot of ultimates utilized, only 1 of 2 now available. Lots of ice, the Glacial Fissure, and then the Sejuani ult as well. So a lot of pressure here. No surprise, we kind of called it that Georgia Southern would be keeping a lot of pressure towards the bottom side. And that random alien also doing a spectacular job, even though there's not the mobility available like we saw on the Hecarim, still seems to be in the right place at the right time, helping out Inspiration in the top side there to take down Prominence Blade, really keeping the pressure on the top side. And every lane for Georgia Southern right now has quite a bit of damage on the tower, if not, obviously, the first tower there in the mid side.
Stun for Prominence Blade getting land. Used the Hextech ultimatum to dodge Inspiration stun, and a shutdown going to go over onto that Camille. That's just what Boise State needed, as the Triforce has been finished there. Woojin going to magical journey over the wall, going to perfectly land that stun as well, but I don't think Boise State can stay in this fight. 1v9 is there as well. Both of them going to get stunned up by setup on the Victor stun, but nothing's going to come of it. But Boise State, we talked about it in game 1, Jolly, vision control right now. Just all Georgia Southern, that whole bot side jungle, Boise State, all red wards. Is Georgia Southern going to jump on their second dragon?
Boise State forced to be very defensive on this as well. Now, the Broncos did take the first dragon of this game, but Georgia Southern has very quickly found the footing that they need and the advantages that they have over Boise State. Prominence played, doing a very good job. Both of these top laners sitting at 2 and 3 thanks to a lot of invasion from the top side. And there it is, the Bard ultimate gonna come down, or sorry, the Echo gonna come down through here. A Magical Journey is going to keep Wu Jin alive, as the exhaust did have to come out for that engage, but it looks like Georgia Southern's gonna find themselves their second tower of the game here. They're gonna even things up with Boise State.
Yeah, 1v9 trying to jump in on the Gimmick there. Might have bit off more than he can chew. There's the Senna ultimate. Of course, Boise State trying to be careful of that trailing Echo. The ultimate still online. Galaxy Savage going to try and pillar off that random alien and Stardream from rotating over. It looks like everyone's just going to agree to disengage. Inspiration going to pick up the third tower of the game for Georgia Southern, and that gold lead growing to 4K now for the Eagles. And as we mentioned, they're just going to hop on the Boise State red buff. Nothing the Broncos can do in their own jungles. Galaxy Savage might try and go for a steal here. He's got someone in the back line, but Prominence Blade also going to jump in on Inspiration in the top lane. Wu Jin is up there. Hextech Ultimatum going to come out. Boise State should pick up that kill. And it looks like nothing came about of that red buff stare down. So Boise State picking up one for free.
Prominence Blade doing a very good job here in the top side, recognizing, all right, we know that random alien is not on the top, is not capable of responding to this. We know that Wu Jin is right here in the wings, and while that could be a good target for Inspiration to decide to jump on, Prominence Blade had already dealt enough damage, and look at that, they hook shot onto the Trundle Pillar. A spectacular combination there. Likely the reason the Galaxy Savage went with that Trundle over someone like the Olaf that I said I wish we might see in these games. The hookshot ability, or the availability to use that hookshot in a location that might not otherwise be there, is very, very handy. And Gimmick getting a nice shift away from that Echo AoE to stay alive, but still the pressure that Georgia Southern has put on has allowed them once again to continue to split these lanes and keep pressure in different areas and not allow Boise State to get any responding pressure so far, as top lane is really the only place that they've had it for the majority of the game.
And we do see in the bot side, Gimmick finishing his Mirror Mana first, going to get the Iceborne Gauntlet as well. Shinsu going to go once again for the Mana Immune into the Black Cleaver. Also has the Executioner's Calling to try and limit some of Boise State's healing, especially from the Trundle and maybe a couple of those Bard healing packs that he likes to put down. But there's the Mirror Mana finish on the side of Shinsu, and Boise State's got to find a way to get on that Senna. 4-0 this game, 6-0-23 last game on that champion. Hasn't died in almost 50 minutes of game time. That is something Boise State's got to find an answer to. But right now, they might find the random alien out in the jungle. Galaxy Savage jumped on him for a little bit. Set up there as well. Right now, the random alien, though, tanky enough. He's going to get the stun right on the Galaxy Savage. 1v9 is going to fall right under tower range and pick up a kill. Meanwhile, on the top lane, once again, Hextech Ultimatum going to get a kill for Prominence Blade. Setup, unfortunately, going to get caught. That's a double kill for 1v9. Gimmick now has to run. He is going to get rooted by Shinsu. We'll see if that's going to be enough under tower. It should be with the flash. Heal has to be used by Shinsu, but it's not going to matter. He is unstoppable on that champion, and Georgia Southern picked up a pair in the bot lane as well.
Very, very low for Shinsu, but totally fine, as they know that they just took down 3 members of Boise State. They could see the Prominence Blade still remained in the top side, and Wu Jin was just there with the assistance. It's definitely at the point where Prominence Blade needs to start moving around to different parts of the map. They got the pressure up in the top side. They're down into the second tower, so 2 towers for Boise State, one on the bottom side and one on the top, thanks to Prominence Blade having the pressure here. But we're at the point in the game where we need Prominence Blade to show up other places, and there it is. 1v9 is going to have to flash away from Prominence Blade, who deals so much damage at the moment.
The 1v9 gonna get caught out there. Tries to blast away, but the rest of Boise State's team was there, thankfully, to get 1v9, and that's what you're talking about, though, Jolly. We need to see Prominence Blade in other lanes. He's got to find a way to maybe jump onto Shinsu there. That random alien has just been bullying the Boise State jungle. Blue buff is going to go over. We'll see if Boise State can make him pay as he's going to leap over the wall. Uji going to miss with the Bard ult there and just get absolutely eviscerated by Shinsu. He's going to get exhausted, though, and there's the first kill, a shutdown for Gimmick, and that's what Boise State needed. Setup going to pick up one. Galaxy Savage trying to chase down that random alien, but this is going to be a Baron for Boise State, and what a perfect time after they just eliminated 3 members.
And this is exactly what we saw work against Boise State in that last game, catching someone out and having them engage on what they think is maybe a 1v1, a 1v2, and the remainder of Boise State right there in the wings, ready for the fight. Bard is going to take all of the aggression on this side. Boise State does manage to get the Baron as well on 5 members.
Yeah, 1v9 trying to jump in, going to ult to safety there, so Boise State holding on. Now Gimmick, though, going to get stunned. Barely alive. He will eventually fall. Shinshu has respawned, going to ult from the base, and now Boise State has to make sure that they keep this Baron on a couple of members. Hextech Ultimatum going to be used to pick off 1v9. Inspiration now in on the back line. They're going to take down Woojin before he falls, so Boise State gets the Baron, but they're going to lose a pair of members for it. But the crucial Baron timer still at 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
2 minutes and 30 seconds on the members that they certainly would like that on. A little bit more pressure towards the minion side, I guess, of their map here. Prominence Blade doing a spectacular job now. This is exactly what they needed, the mobility and also the pressure from this champion. 6, 3, and 2 currently has the most kills in the game for either team. And now look at that gold differential, just under 1K still. So Boise State evening things out. They're going to pick up the Infernal Dragon. That's going to tie things up for 2 for each team here. Still only sitting at half of the towers available, but now they have the pressure necessary with this Camille, with the Trundle picking up 5 kills. Now, after going down so often, so frequently towards the start of the game here, Gimmick is definitely struggling. 2, 5, and 4, getting some really solid shots, but my goodness, Shinsu is just so darn good. It is almost impossible to re-engage on these fights once he decides to begin here. The perfect streak was broken. 1 death, 5, 1, and 5 for Shinsu, but I'm sure they're still feeling totally fine, having provided so much to all of the Eagles here for this game. Still a minute 15 about left on that Baron timer, thanks to Crucial for that one up in the top right-hand corner. Boise State might either try to re-engage on one of these or, just avoid an engage as they get pressure in the top side and the bottom side, forcing Georgia Southern to find a little bit of a split here.
Yeah, I want to see what Boise State can do with this Baron buff as it ticks down under a minute, because they really haven't been able to get any turrets. They haven't been able to get much lane pressure. Of course, it is only on the top 3 members for Boise State in Camille, Trundle, and Victor. So would have liked to see them maybe get a little bit more push, but there is still 40 seconds left. We do see the pings coming out onto Prominence Blade. We do see maybe the comeback is real. Don't want to speak too soon, though. Boise State still has to be very, very careful. Prominence Blade going to jump onto Inspiration. Hextech Ultimatum should be able to pick up the kill, but we do see a couple of members rotating over. This looked like Star Dream was on the way. Shinsu going to get caught out by Woojin. This might be another elimination. They will take him down once again. That Senna falling for the 2nd time in a row, and Boise State able to pick up a couple of turrets right as Baron buff starts to fade.
Woojin picking that one up now. A 2v1 in for Prominence Blade.
Yeah, Woojin now going to try and jump on the back line there. Nice stun by Prominence Blade. Dashed away by that random alien. Going to blast cone to safety there, but Boise State grabbing all of it right now. Another turret going to fall. We'll see if they can siege this mid-inhibitor turret before Shinsu respawns or Inspiration. Got to be very careful for 1v9, though. The health bars for Boise State kind of low. A stun is going to land onto 1v9. Not going to be able to ultimate out there. Unfortunately, it is on cooldown, and that should be a free inhibitor turret for Boise State. Prominence Blade once more, not able to land the stun with the respawns coming out. The Broncos going to get that mid-inhibitor and disengage. What a last few minutes for Boise State, putting them in the driver's seat.
Yeah, it looks like it was not a jinx on the comeback is real, because Prominence Blade is just that far ahead, sitting on their favorite champion that we have yet to see come out here today. It is exceptional to see that Prominence Blade is still doing so incredibly well. And Woojin as well. We spoke about Woojin previously seen in the top lane. We've actually seen Woojin in the mid lane as well. And Woojin has shown up in the jungle too. So Woojin now really just a master of all of these lanes, is doing a great job as the Bard on the bottom side. 1, 2, and 13. So really solid kill participation there, as 14 out of 18 is what he's been involved in. And some spectacular ultimates as well to let the remainder of the team figure things out on those aggressive plays. So Woojin maybe finally finding the lane that fits best for the current roster that they have on this team. And Boise State now has the advantage in gold. Not just gold, they've got the turret advantage, they've got the kill advantage. It is still tied in terms of dragons, but they have put so much pressure on these objectives that they found exactly what they needed to feel comfortable about aggressing on these fights themselves.
Yeah, we do see the Edge of Night there picked up by Shinsu, so he is going to have at least some immunity from the first one where Boise State crowd control, at least the first Boise State spell that lands onto him, so we'll see if he can avoid being caught out there. Prominence Blade pushing all alone. You can see the pings coming out there. Woojin was rotating up to try and help him, but right now, Prominence Blade has to be very, very careful. Might be able to get the back off here. No objectives yet up on the map, but Boise State, I'd like to see Prominence Blade in one of those side lanes, get a turret, one of those tier 2 turrets, and then be able to teleport into a fight as it looks like Baron. The first objective going to be up here, should be spawning in a minute, but Dragon not far behind.
And Dragon is definitely a point of contention here. That'll give whichever team takes it 3, so sitting at Soul Point here. And Boise State does not want to allow Georgia Southern to come back from this, as they did have a bit of an early lead. The Hextech ultimatum coming out on Inspiration, and Gimmick is going to say, hey, that one's mine. Let me throw my ultimate out too and pick up a couple of kills here for the team. Now 4, 5, and 5.
Prominence Blade going to predict that one. Glacial Fissure might be a nice disengage there for the side of Georgia Southern. They do have 1v9 pushing all alone, but a nice hook shot there onto Stardance. Not going to be able to pick up a kill. Galaxy Savage jumping onto that random alien, but nothing going to come of it. There's the teleport in from the Echo as the bottom tier 2 turret falls. Boise State doing a really nice job here. A stun going to land onto that random alien. Can Boise State pick up the kill? Prominently going to jump in on there. Concussive blows going to get the slow, but that might be enough damage to allow Boise State to pick up this Infernal Dragon and put them on Soul Point.
And while they do have a lot more damage than last time, they don't have much more crowd control, so there's still the opportunity for that Sejuani to escape, but not 1v9, even with your flash used and your ultimate utilized there for Georgia Southern. That Echo is not going to escape alive, and Boise State will very easily find themselves on Soul Point as they pick up the second Infernal Dragon for them, the third Infernal Dragon of the game overall. And definitely finding their footing here. Still only less than 3K differential here for Boise State's favor, so Georgia Southern absolutely has the opportunity to find a way back into this fight and find themselves on top. But Prominence Blade is just doing so much.
Got the magical journey away from that fight. Looks like the Bard ultimate's going to land on 3, though. We'll see if Boise State wants to have the follow-up. Inspiration going to jump in on the back line. Shinsu trying to do what he can to survive Galaxy Savage. Hextech ultimatum going to come out. Boise State's going to pick up a pair. That random alien trying to run away. Stardream doing the best he can to block. He's going to get stunned and go down. Blast Cone to safety from that random alien, but Boise State going to pick up 3 members now. And with the Baron up, we'll see if the Broncos want to finish or if they want to try and get that Baron to help them in the end.
It must have been single digits on setups help at the end of that fight. Now has regained a little bit there, but such a good engagement by Boise State. Not a single member lost there. Echo's going to try to change that.
Echo is going to try and jump in, has to ult away. That random alien is going to pin a kill onto Woojin, though. Boise State has to be wary as those death timers start to tick down. If they want to kill off the Nexus turret, if they just want to disengage, looks like they'll just pick up one, and everybody's going to run for the hills. You see Sinshu coming up very soon. Stardream going to be coming online, so Boise State gets one Nexus turret, but they've got to be careful. A surprise rush Baron from Georgia Southern might be their way to get back in this game.
Boise State does have just the teleport there from Gimmick, no teleport on Prominence Blade, so they do have an opportunity to provide some recourse if Georgia Southern does decide to engage on that. I don't think they're going to be able to take it out before Boise State can try to counter it, and Boise State does have the vision there, so they are aware that Georgia Southern is around the Baron pit, possibly looking that one out, and the time for them to be able to snag that has in fact passed, so they're just going to throw down some vision. Boise State luckily has a lot of deep vision of their own, not much defensive vision, and not much vision aside from those two wards that we can see towards the top side of the map. So pretty minimal in terms of what they can see across. Now we can see, as I say, at Boise State trying to work out some counter as well as placing down some vision of their own, but still very minimal for this team in terms of the vision score and the overall of this game.
And we do see, looks like a Baron attempt going to be started here by Georgia Southern. They can see Prominence Blade is on the bot lane there. No teleport available for him for a little bit, so he's not going to be able to join the fight. He's just going to go for the push, though. He's going to try and get that bot lane tower. A nice Bard ult's going to land onto 4 members of Georgia Southern, and now the fight's going to break out there. First kill's going to go onto setup, taking down Inspiration. Now we're going to see a jungler go down. Galaxy Savage will fall. Boise State trying to survive as we see the split push coming out there from Prominence Blade. Boise State just stalling out as we see Shinsu has to run away. Wuji's going to pick up the kill on him. Random Alien going to jump on to Gimmick, going to try and flash away. Going to get stunned up there. Setup now has some concussive blows on him. He has to manage as the stopwatch comes out from 1v9. He's going to fall. And meanwhile, Prominence Blade has just been ending the game this whole time. Even if Boise State lost this fight, it would not matter. Prominence Blade all alone. He's going to solo off the Nexus, and Boise State going to pick up a Game 2 win on the back of Prominence Blade split push.
And that was absolutely their strategy going into that one. Boise State saying, all right, Prominence Blade is already pushed up to the inhibitor tower on the bottom side at the moment that the Eagles decide to try to engage on this one. This is our opportunity to start up a fight. Whether or not we lose, we will get the big W and win the game. And hey, this is going to be my first tiebreaker of casting this season so far. We have either seen Boise State 2-0 a team or get 2-0'd here, and we are going to be going into this one a 1-1. Both teams very comparable in terms of their aggression, their strategies, and their play style. So the only thing I ask is that Boise State ban the Sen of this game. It needs to be done.
Yeah, I mean, Shinsu kind of did fall apart at the end of that game, but I think a lot of that was Prominence Blade, and I highly doubt Camille makes it through the first ban wave again. So yeah, if Camille's taken off the board, I agree with you, Jolly. Just get rid of that Senna. You probably got to keep Hecarim off as well, and then maybe Shen's your third ban just to keep inspiration off that champion. But yeah, the Senna's got to be taken away, and I have to assume the Camille's going to be taken away.
And I definitely agree with the Shen as well. The Stand Uniteds were insane coming from that top laner before. So it is nice to see Prominence Blade getting that #1 pick, being able to go through and go up against what can be a very tough lane. We saw Aurelia find that little moment of overplay, of being able to go ult in and get the extra damage necessary. But once we saw Prominence Blade utilizing that hook shot to go in, and once we saw the movement as well for Prominence Blade from the top lane towards the rest of the map, that's where Georgia Southern kind of fell apart. They didn't know how to respond. They would send one or two down to attack Prominence Blade, who was either able to get one kill and then escape, or 1v1 whoever it was and continue to keep pressure on that lane. So I would not be surprised if the first 3 bans that we saw almost across the board from both teams are going to be respect bans based on these first two games, because of how pivotal certain members and certain champions who those players were on were towards the early and the late game of that one.
Yeah, and I mean, also you have to say a big shout out to Woojin as well. He, I don't want to say abandoned his lane, but realized, all right, we got to get there on the back of Prominence Blade, who after First Blood had, I think, fallen to 1 and 3, and Woojin basically said, all right, I'm going to come up there. Let's get a couple kills onto Inspiration. Let's get you back in this game, Prominence Blade. So I really like that sort of Bard roam saying, all right, Gimmick, you're on the Ezreal. You can survive most tower dives. So I would like to see maybe that come out again for Boise State, because if the Camille's banned away, I don't want to see Prominence Blade back on a Poppy. I don't want to see him on a tank. Let him shine. Put him on something a little bit more carry in the top lane, because I think that's going to be what Boise has to do to win. But we are going to have to find out here in Game 3 of the Gridiron Series, Boise State versus Georgia Southern. And we're going to be in for a doozy, Jolly. As you mentioned, one of the few Game 3s we've seen on the stream, and really back and forth, the tale of 2 different games. These weren't close games. They were one side dominated. Be curious to see if Game 3 either goes one team's way or if it's going to be back and forth the whole way.
Yeah, this one definitely not quite as decisive, I would say, as the first one. That Senna not dying a single time early on. So Boise State has a lot of potential to keep on early pressures. We saw it worked very, very well for them to have one very fed champion. So I just cannot wait for this tiebreaker, as both teams seem very, very equal.
And before we get to Game 3, though, we are going to take a quick break, but you do not want to go anywhere. The winner of the first Gridiron Series of 2020 is going to be coming up next. Game 3, Boise State, Georgia Southern, coming up right after this break.
Here in Idaho, we do things a little differently. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. Next, always use fry sauce. I mean, why wouldn't you? Hold steady when out-of-state friends think you're from Iowa. We call it pop, not soda. We always put a lift on our pickups. And we always buckle up because we still have a lot we want to do, and I'm guessing you do too.
Welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We have Game 3 between Boise State and Georgia Southern coming up very soon here in the Gridiron Series. Fish and Jolly on the cast, and it's been a back-and-forth battle. Georgia Southern dominating Game 1 thanks to a great Senna 6-0 and 23 from Shinsu in the bot lane, and then Boise State answering in Game 2. Prominence Blade dominating on his Camille with a nice split push at the very end there to get us to Game 3, Jolly. So those are two champions we probably aren't going to see in Game 3, so I'm very curious who's going to be the winner here and who's going to be the person to get their team to victory.
And now we kind of saw some bans as well that were focused towards the Eagles jungler. We saw 3 bans at the end, the Nunu, the Jarvan, and the third that I apparently can't remember. And so they're now, at this point, I think they're going to have to let a few of those slide so that they can ban out specifically the Senna, maybe keep the Shen away from things. The Braum has been doing a great job, definitely not as pivotal and needing to be banned away for this team, but we can certainly see the potential for the Camille ban as well. And I did really like Woojin on that Bard, able to do the roaming that was necessary. And we saw the attempt at the roam too with the Lux, but the Caitlyn was just not able to maintain, Gimmick on the Caitlyn was not able to maintain himself there early on. So we can see another quick look at the roster's Prominence Blade, who used to be Lelouch, so you might recognize him from last season. Galaxy Savage, the new addition to this team, set up in the mid side, Gimmick as the ADC, and Woojin now having played in several roles, sitting at the support lane. Inspiration in the top for Georgia Southern, that random alien doing a great job in the jungle. 1v9 as the mid laner, Shinsu as that Senna ADC we've seen twice, and Stardream picking up the Braum 2 times and doing an exceptional job to help out that bottom lane.
Yeah, I will be curious to see, as you mentioned, I think some of the bans, Boise State, the new bans, probably you've just got to let that one go. The Twisted Fate's the one that is sort of interesting to me. I am curious to see how the Twisted Fate is handled there by Boise State. You do see some upcoming broadcast schedule. Of course, Gridiron Rivals going on right now. Got the Best Coast Invitational playoffs coming up next week, and then, of course, a week from today, the next edition of the Gridiron Rivals, one of my favorite series we do here at Boise State. Of course, it always goes well when the football game was the next day, but we're not going to let no football games stop us. So I love when those things come out, and then you can see some Huffcast, some NBA 2K thanks to Hoopfest, and some more action. And then, of course, Overwatch and Rocket League making their first appearances on the stream in the fall semester coming up here towards the end of September. So a lot of good things that you want to make sure. Maybe you drop a follow, drop a subscribe so you can always see what's going on. Check out some past broadcasts as well. But a ton of action coming up in September. You love to see the esports action starting to ramp up. And we've got a great game coming up with Game 3 right around the corner.
And with social distancing being a big part, with regular, I call them meat sports, being postponed for the most part here for Boise State, a lot more pressure is put here on the esports teams as there are a lot more tournaments available for them to play in. But we love the Gridiron Rivals. We're going to continue doing that. Whether or not the Boise State football team is playing, might not be able to beat you on that blue, but we have a blue of our own there into the esports arena as the players on stage actually play with the old portions of the blue that were cut and placed there. Twisted Fate is actually going to still be one of the bands there. That better be a Senna, to be honest, for the third one. I do not want to see Shinsu on the Senna again, at least for Boise State's sake, because of how well it was working. The first death on that player, not even coming till about halfway through the game, and a couple more to follow, but a perfect first game on Senna and a really good combination with that Senna Braum. So at least taking away one of those champions, definitely the Senna, not the Braum at that point, is going to be pivotal for Boise State. The Kane as another selection there for the jungle. They don't want to see it here. And there's the Respect Camille ban that we were expecting to see from the Eagles. Just don't want Prominence Blade to get onto that Camille again. Just a little too much.
Yeah, and that was what my question was going to be. Do you ban away the Senna or the Hecarim? I would lean just to the Hecarim because even though Shinsu's been amazing, Senna's not the playmaker that Random Alien was on that Hecarim and setting things up, and then the Galio ban away there. But yeah, I would have traded Twisted Fate for Senna. I'm not sure why Boise State's so scared of that Twisted Fate. Maybe they just don't want the global ultimate play. Looks like Gimmick at least going to pick for now the run back on the Ezreal. I like that. That should enable Woojin to roam and say, hey, I know you're going to be safe bot lane. Let me help either, Prominence Blade in the top lane. Maybe he'll help set up in the mid lane. So I like the first pick there for Boise State on the Ezreal.
Definitely. I really liked the Ezreal there, and it did allow for a lot of that pressure. The Caitlyn is going to be picked up, so a lot of potential crit shots, and having the extra range on those autos is going to help in case there is a lot of pressure coming there from Gimmick on the bottom side. The Malphite is going to be the second lock-in here for the Eagles, and I am still very curious about that Twisted Fate ban. I absolutely would have selected the Senna over the Twisted Fate. Not only that, but just based on what I'm seeing here for the for 1v9, who primarily played ADC, at least in the past year, I'm not even seeing the Twisted Fate as an option. I know Twisted Fate is incredibly powerful right now and does allow for a lot of that, the global ultimate, the ability to engage and not have that teleport, kind of like with the Shen, the Stand United being removed from the team. But an interesting selection there. I do also like the Ornn pickup. Prominence Blade's second selected champion, not nearly as high as we see on the Camille. Almost picked every single game if possible, but the Ornn is a close second. And the Bard going to be locked in as well for Woojin. I loved that Bard Ezreal combination down on the bottom side. Certainly supplied a lot for Boise State. So the Yasuo is going to be the lock-in and a potential counter pick here available for Boise State.
Yeah, it looks like this time 1v9 just wanted to get that pick in before it had been banned away like it was in the last two games. Trundle going to be banned away there by Georgia Southern, maybe trying to force back onto the set for the Boise State jungler. We'll have to see there. These last couple bans going to be interesting because there's nothing really on the table that strikes you as something that was played well in the first two games. So it looks like they'll just ban away the Lux, someone who's very, very strong right now with the Guardian. Of course, that was just nerfed, but maybe Boise State wanting to still play around that. Of course, two bans left here for Boise State. There's the Vigar from Georgia Southern, so I do like that one. Setup played that very well in the first game. See if he maybe runs back the Victor as well. Two of his favorite champions there in the Vigar and the Victor. And the final ban here for Boise State, you guess it would have to either be a support or a jungle, and it's the Morgana. Want to ban away that Caitlyn Morgana. Always a strong combination in the bot lane there. So good job getting that off the board for Boise State.
Black Shield is never fun to have on the opposing team. It is a very long-lasting spell shield as well. And while there's not a massive amount of CC in that bottom side, we can expect a lot of CC just to be had. We can see with the Yasuo as well as the Malphite there on the opposing side being picked up. And the Thresh is going to be the selection. So while you might not be able to get a binding there, Eagles, you can definitely get a hook. And the Yone, is that the lock-in here? I'm not sure if that is the actual official lock-in here by Boise State. They might be interested in picking it up. We have yet to see them run it so far. At least I have yet to see them run it in these broadcasts. And still the potential here for a mid-lane counter pick. And it looks like the Vel'Koz is going to be selected to go up against that Yasuo. There is still potential for some flexing and some lane swapping, though, from Georgia Southern with the current picks they have.
And I think Aqua, the Boise State jungler for the other team, has played Yone. I believe he played it against Dixie State about a week ago. We actually picked up a pentakill on jungle Yone, so we'll have to see if Galaxy Savage can run it, because I would guess based off the team we see that it is going to be a jungle Yone. And then there's Evelyn, something that's very, very strong right now. I've had friends tell me, you want to climb, just play Evelyn. She's literally free low right now. Stealth champions always find a way to be really good, because when you can't see someone, it's kind of hard to see where they're ganking. So I like that pickup for Georgia Southern. I was shocked it wasn't something to help out the Yasuo, though, because the Malphite can knock him up. So I was like, oh, maybe they're just going to assist 1v9. But no, I like that team comp from Georgia Southern, though. Once again, that top lane, though, going to be probably a lost cause. So I'm curious where Woojin wants to roam, because Ornn and Malphite beating each other is not going to really make a difference if Woojin's up there or not.
Absolutely, and the Eve, as you said, incredibly strong right now, a lot of potential. There is, the Flay from the Thresh that will give the pop-up as well for the Yasuo, so at least two of these champions have abilities to help with lifting up in case that Whirlwind misses, or in case they want another engage for the ultimate from the Yasuo. I mean, I can imagine with how much pressure, how Rome heavy all of Georgia State has been, that Evelyn is going to be huge and is going to show up relatively early, as she certainly has some early presence in the game as well as later on. And I like the Vel'Koz pickup here as well in the mid side. A lot of damage and a lot of potential for some solid push here from Boise State. Overall, a very good pick ban. And no Senna coming through. Not in the bans, not in the picks there that Caitlyn selected. So we're going to end up seeing Shinsu on a different champion. We'll see exactly how things work out for them in that bottom lane.
And we are headed to Game 3 between Boise State and Georgia Southern here in the Gridiron Rivals Series, the first of 2020. Unfortunately, no football game between these two schools to follow, so this is the winner-take-all, if you will, of the entire season between these two schools. And yeah, I'm going to be very curious. I want to see how 1v9 plays on that Yasuo. He definitely had a lot of Assassin-E mid laners picked up there after the 80 carries, as we see our production room hanging us all down, making sure we look and sound good. And then there's Doc's keys to the game for this Game 3. Good mid-jungle synergy. Play for those objectives, get that value over time, and never take a fair fight. All brought to you by Count, whose Trust Global Network helps deliver real-time fraud prevention, account protection, and enables personalized customer experiences for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. Thanks to their award-winning AI, they analyze 32 billion annual interactions to help personalize your user experience across the spectrum for full trust. So if you're interested in any of that, check them out at count.com, KOUNT.com. As we head into Game 3 here very, very shortly. I'll be curious to see with Shinsu off that Senna, as you mentioned, Jolly, just how much focus goes into that bot lane, because that's where Georgia Southern wanted to live and die in Game 1 and Game 2. Now off that Caitlyn, I'll be curious to see if Random Alien is going to kind of go down there, because that stealth is going to mean it's a lot harder for Gimmick and Woojin to find out where that Evelyn is.
I am a little bit worried, I suppose, about this mid lane matchup with the Yasuo into the Vel'Koz. If this Yasuo can play really well, if 1v9 knows how to run the Yasuo. Oh, Gimmick in a potentially dangerous situation, does not have the shift available and is going to have to flash away from that, taking the Q as the first point. So a flash out, and that's going to have to be a forced recall. Gimmick will make it back in time, no problem. But that must feel pretty good for Georgia Southern to force a flash out of Boise State early on.
And it looks like Georgia Southern might not be done yet. Looks like they're going to go right onto that red buff. There is a ward there for Boise State, so they are going to know. You can see all the pings start coming out, the question mark, the be careful. We do see Malphite roaming up there. Woojin now down there, and it looks like Boise State might be interested in even taking a fight here, as we see 1v9 is going to head away. It is going to be just 3 members of Georgia Southern onto that red buff. They're going to start it up there. We'll see what Boise State wants to do. Woojin's waiting, Gimmick's waiting. There's the double stun, and now Boise State's going to full engage here. Looks like they might even just say thank you for the leash, as Galaxy Savage going to grab that red buff there. Random Alien dropping very, very low. Are we going to see a flash over? I think Galaxy Savage actually thought about flashing. Instead, he's just going to red trinket there, clear a couple wards. Very nearly a crazy level 1, but nothing to show for it besides some poke damage.
And no shift, as we know, from Gimmick, who used his flash as well earlier on. A nice ward to start things out, but Boise State is aware, as they were in the tri-bush when it was placed down. Gimmick already getting hooked immediately there and taking some solid autos from Shinsu on the Caitlyn. So a bit of a rough start there for Gimmick, not having the early pressure and not having the flash available. So a very easy selection once level 2 is hit here for Gimmick, just in case somebody comes through.
I'll be curious to see. Here we do see that Random Alien on his red buff. I want to see if he's going to run right up in the top lane. His Prominence Blade is pushing back Inspiration. Right now, Galaxy Savage more just going for the clear everything route here on that Yone on the first clear. Doesn't look like after that red buff, though, Evelyn wants to do anything. So both junglers just settling in to farming. Both of them get a huge power spike at level 6. Of course, Evelyn gets that more permanent stealth. And then Yone is going to have the ultimate online. So wouldn't be shocked if we don't see any too crazy ganks from either of those sides, as Death Sentence is going to miss from Stardream.
Already a considerable amount of damage here on the plates. That's definitely a benefit of the Caitlyn having such a long auto range and then having the headshot passive there for the critical shots. So some good pressure from Shinsu. Clearly, Senna is not the only support that can be played here, and Stardream having that early hook onto Gimmick shows a lot of promise for this championship Thresh skin that we can see right here. Nothing too crazy, though. especially compared to the last couple of games with a lot of really early aggression coming from everywhere here. We can see Prominence Blade taking just a little bit of damage while working on some forging.
Got a Ruby Crystal picked up there. Do have something at least a little different than the first two games. Double Ignite on the side of Georgia Southern. One on the Yasuo and one on Star Dream. So got to watch out for that little bit of more burst damage from that side. We've seen a couple exhausts and some teleports. Actually only 2 teleports in this game, both on the top side there. So both of those actually have the ability to be stopped as well from the Unstoppable Force and the Orange Charge. So both top laners got to be careful, but there's going to be a lot more damage coming onto Boise State with those Ignites. So the Broncos got to be careful, but right now everything's sort of just evolving into a farm fest jolly. Everyone trying to make sure they don't do something too crazy to throw away this game 3, which is, you know, it's always nice, but there's only so much casting you can do of CS as some damage comes out there onto Inspiration.
It's true, it's true. So, in that vein, we'll take a look at the vision that is on board right now. Very much in Georgia Southern's favor, which I guess is kind of classic for this best of 3. As we've seen in these Gridiron rivals, Georgia Southern usually maintaining a lot of defensive and aggressive vision. Prominence Blade dealing a lot of damage there. They're not going to be able to finish it up with the final hit on Inspiration, but either Inspiration needs to go back now or get taken down here. First blood going over to Galaxy Savages with the Yone. A couple flashes burn here as Setup tries to get over the wall. The Yasuo is going to follow it up here. And no, not enough damage there. A great wind wall to prevent the extra damage from the Q on that Yasuo. A bunch of summoners burned there across the board for Boise State in a 1-for-1, but Boise State does take first blood.
Yeah, Boise State gets first blood. The Ignite actually the difference maker in that one as it canceled out the barrier. Evelyn did pick up an assist as well. So both junglers in on the kills. Everyone's going to be all square. Gold's going to be pretty even across the board. The only difference there because the CS difference there in the mid lane, 39 to 25 for 1v9 versus Setup. But yeah, you definitely probably like how that went for Boise State. Galaxy Savage got the kill, and that's much better than Prominence Blade getting the kill. So Boise State cannot complain with how First Blood went. And Prominence Blade really doing a ton of bullying on Inspiration in these last 2 games. So would not shock me if Galaxy Savage is back top lane momentarily.
And a great job by Prominence Blade too, because we did have an appearance from that random alien. Same thing from Setup in the mid lane. We saw on the bottom side of the river that random alien actually get popped by one of Setup's Qs. So Boise State, while they might not have the same vision that Georgia Southern has put out so far, they are keeping a very, very close eye on that jungle.
As a magical journey from Galaxy Savage came over, he's actually going to get trapped and get headshot. Boise State's gank has now gone awry, and Wujin has to be very careful. He's going to get played back in, forced to flash. The exhaust is going to come out. Now Star Dream going to flash in. Galaxy Savage going to use the Q to launch forward. Both teams have to be very, very careful. Up in the top lane now, the tanks are both very low. Flash from Inspiration. Here comes Setup, the ult not quite going to land. Magical Journey, though, nice flash away. The death sentence, though, not going to be enough. Galaxy Savage going to pick up one, but he will go down in the process. We do see Evelyn rotating down as Prominence wins that wet noodle fight in the top lane. Random alien does put the charm on somebody. Not quite level 6 though, and the spike's going to miss, so Boise State's health bars might be able to make it away. Great job by Gimmick to turn on to Star Dream. Kill going to be picked up though by Random Alien. He will be knocked up in the air. Boise State has to manage that very well, and they do just that. A double kill in the bot lane as things go crazy, and Boise State comes out with the small advantage.
Small advantage is still an advantage, especially in the bottom lane, having Ezreal sitting at 2-0-1, already a bounty on Gimmick's head now, and taking that Caitlyn down a bit of a notch there, sitting at 1-1, getting the second kill of the game. No way! The shift away from Gimmick, but the Q from Shinsu was enough to follow it up. So while that double kill went over, Gimmick definitely stayed too late and had too much pressure on that lane, ending up going down. So, you know, what was a 2-for-1 ended up turning eventually into a 2-for-2. And Boise State instantly lost that bounty and handed it right over to Shinsu.
Yeah, it's going to be some extra gold on the Caitlyn. Now, Shinsu did just back, so I highly doubt he's going to be able to use that bounty gold, as we see Ezreal immediately picks up a full mana immune, so that's going to go a long way in getting that stacked up to a mirror mana as quickly as possible. So Boise State I don't want to say would take that trade, but they definitely can't complain about it. I also just like how much damage Prominence Blade is doing here in the top lane, capitalizing on that shatter damage onto Inspiration with the Ornn passive, being able to do a ton of damage. So that's going to go a long way into keeping that Malphite down. Second plate going to be picked up there for the bot lane for Georgia Southern, but here comes Galaxy Savage. He's going to try and jump in onto Sincho there, does have the E, so he's going to have to go back eventually. He's going to ult in, and there's the shutdown. Boise State this time putting all the pressure on bot lane, and that's going to be another kill onto that Yone.
And this feels so good for Galaxy Savage, who has had a really rough couple of games. The first one, not a single kill, sitting at around 0-7 and 8, something like that to end it out. Now 3-1 and 0, but this bot lane
Yeah, great job by Woojin saving Galaxy Savage. He is going to have to, unfortunately, go right back into the middle of the team. He's going to get flayed up. Shutdown's going to go onto his brother. Yasuo 1v9, though, will immediately fall. Woojin going to pick up that one, so it will be a 1-for-1. But the shutdown gold will mean Georgia Southern going to come out just ahead on that one. Here comes the Ornn Horn by Prominence Blade. The double knock of Inspiration. Not going to do anything. Ace in the hole, meanwhile, going to land on Woojin in the bot lane. So another trade coming out there. And Boise State has to feel very confident what's happening in the top lane. In the bot lane, maybe not so much. A 1v1 trades all around.
Not so much, but still not horrible. Again, that was the first step there for Gimmick, just staying a little too long, so not feeling great about that one, as it was an unnecessary death going over to Shinsu. As we saw the just too much pressure down in the bottom lane, pushed a little bit too far up, and a lot of range from Shinsu, so that should be expected. But Woojin on this Bard is doing a spectacular job. I love seeing the early roam from the Bard, and already some spectacular ultimates here. Galaxy Savage again might have lost another life there and gave a bit of the shutdown over, but still feeling much better than we saw the last couple of games. Boise State does have the kill advantage, and the gold is just about even here for both of these teams, so a much safer game to start from everyone across the board. However, 0-3 and 0 on this Malphite really hurts, and at that point you kind of have to wonder, as the random alien, all right, is it worth it for me to try to help out in this top lane, or should we just call it a lost cause and focus on the other lanes that are doing a little bit better here, like the bottom lane with 3 kills, or even the mid lane sitting at 2-1-1?
Yeah, the mid lanes is my concern right now. Is 1v9, though. Might get caught out here. Stun's going to land. Galaxy Savage going to say, I'll take that right back. Because I was about to say, that's a 2-1 Yasuo. He's picked up 2 solo plates as well. So his gold, probably a big reason that it's a lot closer even with the Boise State kill lead. But he does finally go down, and Boise State's got to watch out for that Yasuo as they hop onto this Infernal Dragon.
There is a ward on the top side of the bush as well. We can see Evelyn likely hitting the Scuttle Crab right there, trying to get a little bit of pressure around the Rift Herald as Boise State manages to snag that dragon. That's going to put the gold lead into their favor. And if Georgia Southern doesn't really have a response to Prominent Blade here on the top side soon, it is going to be a very tough game, not just for Inspiration, but for the rest of the Eagles once we get into the team fight stage, and that Ornn is able to bring that utility down to his fight. Level 10 is what he is sitting at, feeling pretty good, and a good charm on a setup.
That setup tried to flash away. There's Woojin Guardian going to go up. Bard ult going to land onto 1v9. That random alien has to be careful, but he is going to fall. 1v9 now left all alone. We'll see if he can live up to his namesake. Has to have to flash away over the wall, but Galaxy Savage says, hey, I'm right there. There's the Unstoppable Force, followed by the Yasuo. 1v9 is going to pick up a kill out of nowhere. There's the Ornn Horn, going to get a knock-up onto the Caitlyn. Double kill, though, before that happened. Now we see Prominence Blade trying to chase down Inspiration. Nothing going to come out of that. We do see 1v9 is on the wrong side of the wall. Inspiration very low, as well as Star Dream. Gimmick now has to be careful. Yasuo might be caught out, trying to get to the rest of his team there. Great job by Gimmick to Essence Flux into the right spot. So Boise State going to pick up a couple, make that 3 kills there in that long engage. Georgia Southern picked up 2 of their own. So these teams very even footing right now.
Still 2-0-3 on that Ornn in the top. The teleport was used to engage on that fight, but so much pressure coming from Boise State in that top side. Georgia Southern, meanwhile, has the same number of plates in the mid lane and in the bottom lane here. So Gimmick, now with a double buff, is going to do his best to pick up some, but before those plates go down in about 1:10, we're sitting at 12:50 now, and they fall at 14 minutes. That random alien now forced to put some pressure on the bottom side of this map as Woojin attempts to finish this off. A good escape there from the Evelyn. just barely gonna survive out of that one, using the ultimate as well. Potentially looking for a re-engage here, though, as she's hanging around that bottom side.
Yeah, we'll get some of that healing thanks to the passive while in stealth. We'll see if they want to re-engage on the Boise State bot lane. Prominence Blade doing a great job there. It's 1v9. It's going to jump on setup in the mid lane. Doesn't look like a kill is going to land for now. Death sentence just going to miss, so Boise State barely going to hang on as turret plating falls in 30 seconds. 1v9, very, very low. Here comes Galaxy Savage. Rift Herald has been dropped in the bot lane, trying to pick up that first turret for Georgia Southern, maybe get them back into the gold lead. Boise has to be very careful. Turret is very, very low. Bardolph's going to land onto 2 members. And Sinshu is going to be the first one to go down. They will trade that for a Woojin. That random alien very low. Thought that was going to hit, but Gimmick just misses, so Boise State has to settle for the 1-for-1.
Just barely out of range there. That box prevented the rest of Boise State from being able to continue the engage. We saw the shift and the flash both used by Gimmick earlier on there to stay alive, but now this might be a 3v1 as Galaxy Savage gets jumped on. And while there was a lot of damage dealt over and the Ignite thrown down onto that random alien, it's not quite going to be enough, just barely staying alive.
Yeah, that random alien the second time barely living. Boise State, unfortunately, not going to be happy for that trade. But with Dragon not spawning too soon, should allow Galaxy Savage to get back in the fight. Setup has to be very, very careful with the Yasuo Lol nearly on a line that he does not get knocked up and die. And Prominence Blade just doing his thing up in the top lane. You see 109 CS pacing everybody right now, tied with Gimmick. And Inspiration just has not been able to have a fun time up there. You can see that random alien rotating up. And Prominence Blade doing his best to carry on an Ornn, just like he carried last game on that Camille, and really close to getting that first tower thanks to that demolish.
Prominence Blade still feeling all right. They are going to flash out just to escape potential damage here. The Ornn Horn going to follow it up, and this may be another kill. Oh my goodness, no! Just in the nick of time, Inspiration finds a solid ultimate to prevent, once again, prevent that random alien from going down. In the meantime, Woojin is going to pick up that kill, saying, setup, you've got enough right now. It's 0 kills at the moment. Ace in the hole coming down to hit Gimmick in the bottom side. They are aware that Woojin is in the mid lane at the moment. Georgia Southern finally found some pressure there on that top side, but still 1-3-1 is what Malphite is sitting at. Boise State feeling confident enough on that Ornn. And it certainly would have been another kill for Prominence Blade onto the random alien if it wasn't for that quick flash and ultimate in from Inspiration. We got there again just in the nick of time.
Yeah, Prominence Blade, you know, that's when you type in the chat, oh, where's the tent at Evelyn? Because he has been dominating Inspiration in that 1v1. Not quite able to get the first tower, so we're still waiting for that one. The Boise bot lane incredibly low. The Georgia Southern top lane tower incredibly low, but Boise State might be setting themselves up here for a quick rush at the second dragon of the game. Looks like they are maybe going to disengage here. At least they picked up the scuttle. They warded it all up. That random alien is actually backing, so Boise State could have taken advantage of that, but for now, it just looks like they'll let everyone reset here. Should let Prominence Blade probably pick up that first turret, depending on the Demolish cooldown. You can see Demolish ticks down. There it is. Boise State gets that first turret.
That feels pretty good. Prominence Blade knowing, hey, as long as this is a 1v1, I will be just fine here. 2 levels up. Oh, 12. Never mind. Just the 1 level up for Prominence Blade here. Galaxy Savage is 1v9. Start to duke it out.
1v9 now going to jump in on to setup, but he's going to jump right into his death. Galaxy Savage now going to ult. That's going to be a force splash from that random alien. Trap's going to go down as the Dragon is the next target for both teams. We do see Teleport is up for Prominence Blade if he wants to use it. Inspiration does not have. It looks like for now, though, Prominence Blade just content walking down towards this bot lane here. He's being followed closely by that Malphite. Boise State doing a great job bullying Georgia Southern. Would like to see them maybe jump on the Dragon. There it is. They'll pick it up. So second Dragon over to Boise State. And it is going to be the Cloud Drake Soul. So maybe some shorter ultimates there would be something Boise State, I'm sure, would love to see.
Oh, absolutely. They find a little bit of a gold advantage here. It's always rough to see brothers fight, but Galaxy Savage should manage to take out 1v9 there. The Yone tearing apart the Yasuo. I guess that's the older brother, younger brother kind of dynamic that we see. Galaxy Savage, again, just performing so much better than we saw in the last couple of games. Getting hit really, really hard with the aggressive counter jungle coming from Georgia Southern. Has not really been there here for Boise State because of the presence of Prominence Blade there towards the top side. Woojin with a great attempt at ultimate there is not going to hit.
Yeah, Random Alien gonna have to ult to safety there. 1v9 gonna get the knockup on this setup. Not going to follow that one. They'll learn from his last one. You don't always just blindly jump in when the Yasuo ult activates. That ward will fall though. That was Georgia Southern's prize for all of that. And right now, this top lane is going to be where I think everything goes for Boise State. As you can see, 2-1-3 versus 1-3-1. Prominence Blade, of course, once he hits level 13, can start upgrading the rest of his team's items. You see Ezreal going for the Triforce for that reason. So that gold lead gonna start growing once Ornn hits level 13, about 1k gold per item, and Boise State would love for those to start coming online before they get into two heavy team fights.
And that should be here relatively soon, considering the first tower has gone down for either of these teams. For Georgia Southern, it's in the bottom side. For Boise State, it's in the top side. Prominence Blade is now feeling comfortable enough to do some navigation down below. We can see the Rift Herald is up there, and Boise State may likely decide to go for that one. But there are some pings coming out as well in response, as the Random Alien has been spotted out and is jumped on by Boise State.
Galaxy Savage gonna ult in, gonna finally eliminate that Random Alien. No escaping on low health this time. There's the Ornhorn, gonna land a knockup onto a couple of members. Inspiration dropping very low. He's gonna be the next one to fall. Galaxy Savage is going to be taken down. 1v9, forced to flash over the wall, trying to run away with very, very low health, but the Proto Belt going to get the kill for setup there, and Boise State has to love that, the 3-for-1, and now they're able to push mid.
What a beautiful call of the Forge God from Prominence Blade. It came up through the bottom side, hitting 2 or 3 members, and then he knocked it across to get the pop-up and that damage onto the towards the right side. So a split fight for Boise State that Prominence Blade has taken full control of. 3, 1, and 4 had so much pressure on Inspiration, who's really not able to offer much now at this point in the game, aside from some utility on that ultimate. But keep in mind, when you use that ultimate, you're diving into the entirety of the opposing team, and you don't have an out aside from that flash that is almost off of cooldown there for the for Inspiration, or is off of cooldown now. So Boise State feeling pretty good about the top side, and the jungle doing well this match as opposed to just the bottom side from Gimmick and Woojin, who are still doing an incredible job. Not quite as many kills as Caitlyn on the other side, but far fewer deaths. It is 18-13, that gold disparity just under 3k gold in Boise State's favor. We are about 20.5 minutes into this one though, so Georgia Southern absolutely has the opportunity to come back, as we saw Boise State do in the last game, really returning fire by a lot of the pressure from Prominence Blade in the top lane.
See Galaxy Savage trying to chase down Star Dream. They're not going to get anything. You can see the upgrades for Boise State starting to set up there. The Triforce in the inventory of Gimmick, the Infinity Edge in the inventory of Galaxy Savage, of course, putting them in the first slot, because Ornn can't pick when he upgrades. It just upgrades your first item, and of course everyone said, I wanted that Rabadon's upgrade. Why'd you upgrade my Ludens? Well, it's your fault, not the Ornn. So Boise State playing that one really well, and once those upgrades start coming online, Galaxy Savage is going to be even more scary. Gimmick's going to be even more scary, and I think it's all going to be around Inspiration. Can he land a 3 or 4 man unstoppable force to set up 1v9 for the easy ultimate? But right now, Prominence Blade can jump in on Inspiration. He's not even going to be able to ult. There's the Ornhorn, going to knock up a couple. I don't think that cage is going to save you. Woojin actually saving 1v9 for a brief moment there, getting Galaxy Savage caught, but it will not matter. Prominence Blade starting that fight out, and Boise State should be going right over to Baron.
And I thought I saw the ultimate come through for Inspiration. No, it wasn't. Prominence Blade just recognizing how much farther ahead he is than Inspiration to get another takedown on that champion. Might not get you a ton of gold or a ton of pressure, but it does get you the ability to engage here now onto the Baron pit. The ult gonna come out from setup, and that is going to force a flash away from that Random Alien. Boise State very quickly and easily with 3 members taking down the Baron here, and that gold disparity is going to very quickly sway in their direction if they can find some solid pressure from that Baron pickup. They are going to head towards the Dragon Pit, try to get onto that, head towards that Dragon Soul, as they have both dragons currently for this game. Boise State really finding every small victory that they want. They're not going to be able to snag this dragon, though, it appears, as most of the team is separated around the map.
Prominence Blade's going to teleport in. He has different ideas. Dragon dropping very low, going to be picked up there by that random alien. Inspiration going to be the first one to fall. Gimmick on a killing spree. Another kill going to go on to Gimmick. He's picked up 2. 1v9 trying to do what he can. Actually going to land on to Woojin. He's just going to go in. Triple kill on to Gimmick. Galaxy Savage going to knock down the older brother. And even despite losing that Dragon, the crucial Baron is crucial for Boise State as they're going to use that to push now. And they might be able to get a mid inhibitor.
Boise State, all they need is Prominence Blade for the front line. That is all you need when your Ornn is doing it that well. The aggression split was phenomenal. Prominence Blade very quickly jumping onto the back line, pulling aggro from 2 to 3 members of Georgia Southern, preventing anyone else from really hitting their squishier backline side. That allowed setup Gimmick and Galaxy Savage to really force a lot of damage there. Woojin also trying to take a lot of the aggression. It's working out very well as Boise State didn't lose a single member in that fight. Bounties on 4 players and only 1 death currently on Prominence Blade, and that is definitely a dead random alien. The Call of the Forge Guard is going to try to go across to get the pop-up because Evelyn managed to get over that wall and may survive. The chase is still on though. And in the meantime, while Galaxy Savage was trying to clear out a little bit of the enemy jungle, Georgia Southern respawned a little quicker than he may have expected.
Yeah, now that random alien might even be able to turn the fight. There's the charm, not going to be able to land on this setup. Setup trying to get a kill there. There's the ultimate, going to finally be able to take down that Evelyn, but at what price? As 1v9 and Stardream are both there. That should be an easy kill, so a couple of shutdowns. Going to go on to 1v9. Boise State getting a bit too greedy, trying to chase down that Evelyn. Great job by that random alien, kiting them for that long, allowing his team to respawn. So Boise State got to watch out for that Evelyn. So hard to catch with the stealth, with the ability to use the ultimate to teleport over the wall. Great job by that random alien to do exactly just that. Maybe get his team back in the game as a nice flash by Stardream.
Especially after the Baron buff. That's when you know, while you have Baron buff, you're tempted to go in and continue the fight because you know you can recall relatively quickly, but you don't want to chase an Evelyn. I know the saying is usually about a Singed, but that is definitely one of the champions that has a lot of healability, a lot of returnability as well in these fights to disappear, regen some health in the invis, and then re-engage on these fights. That random alien definitely is not going to be able to save this tower here, though, as 3 members of Boise State haven't pushed forward, but she might be looking for a pinch to get one of these members, or 3 of these members all down, and there it is.
Yeah, the Unstoppable Force into the Yasuo ult. The Bard ultimate going to try and save a couple people. First kill going to go onto that random alien. Gets the shutdown onto Gimmick. There's the ult from Galaxy Savage, though not quite able to get anyone before he's forced back. 1v9 finally going to go down. Woojin picking up that one. Prominence Blade trying to chase down that random alien. There's the call of the Forge God. Nice flash away to avoid being charmed. And he's going to be able to get a double kill for his team. Their setup. They're able to pick up a couple more kills as Galaxy Savage picks up a double kill of his own. Tries to chase down that random alien. Is going to force the Zanyas, but that should be allow Evelyn enough time to re-stealth. And Boise State, I thought that was a lost fight after the Unstoppable Force Yasuo combo landed, but Galaxy Savage turned that around, and a great play by Prominence Blade to get that call. The Forge got off, and it looks like Boise State might be going for the end here.
And once again, the aggro swap that they have had and the focus that Boise State has showed is really incredible, and that is what is leading to victories in these fights. A full ace for Boise State. That is going to do it. They're going to be focusing down the second Nexus turret. Only 2 members right now of Georgia Southern left alive, and plenty of health on the side of Boise State where they need it. They're not going to be able to continue the pressure on, though, to go for the game finish. They're going to try to push back Georgia Southern as much as possible, but those respawns ended up lining up relatively well there. And a few members are a little bit low for Boise State, so they want to finish this right now. They just have to be careful about it.
There's the Unstoppable Force into Yasuo ultimate. Not going to matter, though, as Yasuo and Malphite both going to pay for their lives to try and do any damage. Woojin will go down. That is going to be another kill, a double kill for Gimmick. He's going to land that one onto Stardream. Not much that Shinsu can do. That random alien tries to get Gimmick, should be successful. Now going to try and kite the rest of Boise State away from the Nexus. Not going to matter. Another ace for Boise State, and this time they should be able to finish off the Nexus. The Broncos with the come-from-behind victory as they sort of mess around a little bit there. Take care of a couple of minions, but the death timer is more than long enough for the Broncos to get that 50 gold. And Boise State winning games 2 and 3, going to be the 2-1 series victors in our first Gridiron Rivals series of the year.
Stellar performance by both teams. I absolutely know who my MVP of the game is, and I can't imagine anyone would choose anything other than Prominence Blade in that both of those games, all three of those games really having a bit of a troublesome time in the first game. Second game, essentially carrying hard, and that third game putting so much pressure on the top side. So many amazing ultimates, allowing for the rest of the team to engage where they might not otherwise have been capable of doing so. Though I will say a spectacular return there from Galaxy Savage, as the first two games were a real struggle for him, and he really found his footing on that Yone. It looks like the aggressive, high-damage junglers are also in the works for the majority of this team. The top lane and the jungle seem to fit better on those heavy damage and very aggressive players. So Boise State definitely not going to give over another loss. They are currently on a 4-game win streak, I believe.
Yeah, 4 games in a row now for the Boise State League of Legends team. And yeah, I mean, Prominence Blade was spectacular. I think if you want maybe a 1B, it would have to be Woojin on that Bard, because in game 2, he did sort of get to the point where Prominence Blade, he's like, hey, come on, let's get you back in the game. You're 1-3, let's get you back on top. And he sort of ended up supporting him as they sort of picked off inspiration. So yeah, Prominence Blade was spectacular. Woojin was spectacular. And of course, you can't forget Gimmick and Setup, both doing very well in their mid and 80 carry roles. And as you mentioned, really big shout out to Galaxy Savage. I mean, it's probably not player of the game because those first 2 games weren't great, but being tilt-proof is something huge in Collegiate League of Legends because there are 3 games you have to play. It's not just a best of 1 like solo queues. So big shout out to him for struggling on that set, starting to find his footing on that Trundle, and then just taking over on that Yone. But big shout out to everyone on Boise State. That first game was a doozy, and they managed to come all the way back and win the next 2 games. So huge shout out to Boise State, Jolly. Really well played by the Broncos tonight.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, Fish, that second game too, not just doing a really good job, but actually coming back, losing the retaliate on there. And the player of the game is going to come up now.
You were right, Jolly. It was Prominence Blade. As you mentioned, game 2 on that Camille, just absolutely dominating. And then on that Ornn, they gave him his first and second favorite champions, and he just absolutely proved why those need to be bans every single game. Dominated on that Camille, and then on that Ornn, he just did not let Malphite do much of anything in the top lane.
Oh, not at all. And it was a lot of 1v1s as well. It wasn't even thanks to the jungle pressure from really either team. And that was where he fell far behind, was when the jungle pressure did come on from the Eagles jungler, making an appearance occasionally in the top side. As you mentioned, sitting at 1-3, not feeling great, but that Camille comeback ability is there with the help of Woojin. So really spectacular play from everyone across the board, but so consistent for Prominence Blade. Again, this is Lelouch from last year. If you don't remember just how consistent this player was, you will continue to see it in the season coming up here. Name change does not mean a playstyle change, and if anything, maybe a little bit of an expansion on that champion pool and some changes to playstyle, especially with the current meta being focused towards the jungle and top side. There is a lot of promise for the future here of this team.
Yeah, Prominence Blade is your Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game. Idaho Central Credit Union believes that a great player makes a team more successful, just like they're helping their members achieve financial success. Prominence Blade is your Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game. But once again, huge shout out to Woojin, who did a great job supporting Prominence Blade in this Camille game, helping him get back online. And then some of those Bard ults were absolutely spectacular, saving teammates. A couple of troll ones there where he accidentally landed on the Galaxy Savage and missed the Yasuo, but that's going to happen on Bard when you're just sort of shooting them down mid. So great job by Woojin, great job by the rest of the team. As you mentioned, Galaxy Savage coming back in that game, and then set up a Gimmick doing a phenomenal job. But once again, Boise State on a 4-game winning streak in League of Legends, turning things around from how the start of the season went. So it's only going to go up from here. I know there's a Gridiron Rivals series next week against Air Force. Next Friday, I'll be curious to see the first conference game of the year for Boise State, how that one goes. But Jolly, any final thoughts for Boise State in their come from behind, I guess you could say, mini reverse sweep tonight?
Oh, just keep it up. This is exactly what we love seeing. This is what we're used to for this team. Even if you fall behind, you keep the mental and you keep up that aggression as well. So I love what I'm seeing from both of the teams we currently have, and especially from this team that we have seen a lot less of. That comeback ability is spectacular. So just if it's not broke, don't fix it, but you can always do better.
Well, once again, big shout out to everyone who joined us in Twitch chat. Thank you to our production room, making sure that Jolly and I sound and look spectacular. And then thank you, of course, to you, Jolly, for helping cast tonight games. That will be all we have for now. Don't forget, next week, next Friday, is the next Gridiron Rivalry Series, Boise State versus Air Force. First conference game of the year for the esports team. But that's going to do us all for tonight. Have a great evening, and we'll see you guys next time as we leave you with the top 5 plays from tonight. Bullying the Boise State jungle. Blue buff is going to go over. We'll see if Boise State can make him pay as he's going to leap over the wall. Wuji going to miss with the Bard off there and just get absolutely eviscerated by Shinsu. He's going to get exhausted though, and there's the first kill, a shutdown for Gimmick, and that's what Boise State needed. Setup going to pick up one. Galaxy Savage trying to chase down that random alien, but this is going to be a Baron for Boise State. And what a come out. Boise State's going to pick up a pair. That random alien trying to run away. Stardream doing the best he can to block. He's going to get stunned and go down. Blast cone to safety from that random alien, but Boise State going to pick up 3 members now. And with the Baron up, we'll see if the Broncos want to finish or if they want to try and get that Baron to help them in the end. Very low, going to be picked up there by that random alien. Inspiration going to be the first one to fall. Gimmick on a killing spree. Another kill going to go on to Gimmick. He's picked up 2. 1v9 trying to do what he can. Actually going to land on to Wujin. He's just going to go in. Triple kill on to Gimmick. Galaxy Savage going to knock down the older brother. And even despite losing that dragon, the crucial Baron is crucial for Boise State as they're going to use that to push now. And they might be able to get a mid inhibitor. Very, very low. He's going to charge right back in. Setup going to be another member to fall. Wujin will go down there. Gimmick trying to run away from the rest of the squad, but he will fall as well. Does look like, once again, Boise State avoids the ace, but I don't think Prominence Blade is going to be able to do much of anything as Super Minions and 5 members of Georgia Southern come running into the Bronco base. Jungler go down. Galaxy Savage will fall. Boise State trying to survive as we see the split push coming out there from Prominence Blade. Boise State just stalling out as we see Shinsu has to run away. Wuji's going to pick up the kill on him. Random alien going to jump on to Gimmick, going to try and flash away. Going to get stunned up there. Setup now has some concussive blows on him. He has to manage as the stopwatch comes out from 1v9. He's going...